What if 3 hours were enough to change your life completely? 3 hours that can make stress, anxiety, and uncertainty disappear. What if I told you that an ancient philosophy, Stoicism, holds the key to a stronger, more balanced and fulfilling life? Come with us and explore this world, learning practical steps that can change your mind, increase your strength, and transform your life in just 3 hours. Are you ready to start this journey of change? In today's busy world, where stress and anxiety are ever present, many of us are looking for ways to find peace and strength in the midst of chaos. What if I told you that an ancient philosophy, more than 2,000 years old, can give us the tools to live better in modern life? That's the power of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to find fulfillment and courage by valuing virtue, wisdom, and the idea that we control how we react to the world around us. Over the next few hours, we will delve into Stoicism. Let's learn about his origins, main ideas, and the lives of the Stoic philosophers who followed him. Most importantly, we will learn practical strategies from these teachings that you can use right now. These strategies are designed to help you gain mental clarity, emotional strength, and deep inner peace. At the end of this journey, you will not only better understand Stoicism, but you will also have practical tools to face life's challenges. You will learn to turn problems into opportunities, stress into calm, and uncertainty into understanding. Have you ever heard the phrase, "Don't burn yourself to keep someone else warm"? This means that taking care of yourself and being kind to others must go together, as Stoicism teaches. But in the rush to be loved and always help, many people have turned kindness into something that harms their self-esteem. We are told to go beyond our limits for others, but at what cost? Being too kind is not a virtue if it saps our energy, health, and resources. This leads us to burnout. Many people lose control, give so much of themselves that they feel empty, devalued, and tired. In this scenario, good people end up doing bad things. Stoicism shows us how we can be generous without losing our own essence, how we can be kind without harming ourselves. He teaches us to be generous in a way that improves the lives of others and at the same time takes care of our own lives. It's time to learn how Stoic principles can help us set healthy boundaries so that our kindness strengthens us rather than depletes us. Let's talk about how to give without burning out, love without getting hurt, and help others without forgetting ourselves. Join us as we use the wisdom of Stoicism to find the balance between being kind and taking care of ourselves. Don't burn yourself to keep others warm. Marcus Aurelius, a wise Stoic philosopher, warns us about being overly kind. Imagine always being there to help others, never saying no until you have nothing left to give. It's like you're always there for others, but when you need help, you're alone. Being kind to others is important, but being kind to yourself is even more crucial. Marco Aurelio always reminded us that taking care of ourselves is our first duty. Without this, we cannot truly help others. Think of two gardeners who lived side by side. One of them took good care of his garden, while the other spent a lot of time tending other people's gardens. The careful gardener knew that taking care of himself was important, so he gave his garden all the attention and resources it needed. His garden grew strong and beautiful, bringing him joy and also allowing him to share the flowers and fruits with his neighbors. The other gardener, however, spent so much time helping others that he ended up neglecting his own garden. This gardener who didn't take care of his own garden ended up with a space without many beautiful plants or fruits. By forgetting his own needs to help others, he left his garden and himself exhausted. It reminds us that we need to take care of ourselves before helping others. We must think about whether our help is something we can keep. Are we taking care of our health, setting healthy boundaries and being kind to ourselves while being kind to others? The ancient Stoics taught us to practice Stoicism, a philosophy that values inner peace and honesty as important to a happy life. They said we can't give something we don't have, so if we cultivate peace and integrity in ourselves, we will naturally positively impact the lives of others. It's like planting seeds of goodness and virtue in our hearts, letting them grow and spreading their fruits to others. Being generous has a limit. This phrase appears in Stoic teachings and many other philosophies. Being generous is a good quality that improves our lives and the lives of those around us. But like any virtue, it must be exercised with balance and care. It's like keeping a set of scales, ensuring that our generosity doesn't drain us emotionally or financially. By setting healthy limits on our generosity, we can continue to help others without compromising our own well-being. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that is still important today, teaches us something valuable about kindness. It's good to help others with an open heart, but we must understand that we won't always receive the same in return. Sometimes the good deeds we do may not be remembered in the future. This doesn't mean our actions have no value, but it's just the natural way people react. Being kind is like planting a tree. We take care of it hoping that it will grow and give us shade or fruit one day. But just like in nature, storms and droughts can occur. When we are kind, we should do so without expecting rewards. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, taught us to focus on our actions, not their consequences. He said that we cannot always control the outcome of our actions. The joy of giving should come from the act itself, not from the expectation of receiving something in return. This mindset protects us from disappointment when our expectations are not met. It makes us emotionally strong to continue being kind without exhausting ourselves. We must not harden our hearts, but find balance. We must see our goodness as a reflection of who we are. In this way, we cultivate pure, self-sustaining, and truly rewarding generosity. Stoicism tells us to give freely but wisely, so that our kindness makes us better, regardless of the response of others. How can you apply this principle in your everyday life? Think of situations where you can be kind without expecting anything in return. Then reflect on how to ensure that your kindness continues to bring you joy rather than draining you. There is no shortage of requests that reach us, whether at work, at home, or among friends. When we look at the past, we realize how royalty was taken care of in every aspect, from dressing to keeping clean, by their servants. Even now, in 2024, people still expect a lot from us and often ask us for favors they could easily do themselves. Stoicism reminds us of the importance of setting limits and practicing moderation. We can use this ancient philosophy as a guide to help us deal with the countless requests we receive while maintaining our emotional health. Setting boundaries isn't about selfishly withholding help. It's about finding a healthy balance. Imagine yourself as a glass of water. If you constantly empty yourself to fill other glasses, you will soon become empty. Stoicism teaches that we must recharge ourselves and take care of our own emotional integrity to be truly available to others when needed. This empowers us to help without getting lost in the process. The moving story of a mother and her adult daughter who lived in a charming town illustrates this idea well. The mother, with the best intentions, took so much care of her daughter that she prevented her from learning to take care of herself. This excessive care continued until the mother passed away. Surprisingly, the daughter, forced by the new reality, became more independent and self-sufficient. This transformation showed that, even with good intentions, helping too much can unintentionally harm personal growth. Applying Stoicism to our daily lives can help us avoid similar situations. We must remember that helping does not mean taking on all the responsibilities of others. Just as the Stoics practiced moderation in all areas of life, we can use this principle to balance our acts of service and our personal needs. It is essential to recognize that by enabling others to face and overcome their own challenges, we are actually offering a much greater gift, the opportunity for growth and self-reliance. So the next time you feel overwhelmed with requests, remember Stoic teachings. Set your limits, practice moderation, and help in a way that also allows others to grow and develop. After all, it is through balance and wisdom that we find true connection and purpose in our actions. Marcus Aurelius, a famous Stoic philosopher, said something very important in his Meditations. A man's job is to hold himself upright, not to be held upright by others. This means that we must be strong on our own, without depending on others to keep us standing. Another Stoic philosopher, Seneca, talked about true friendships. He said, "He who becomes your friend because of what you do for him will also cease to be your friend because of it." This means that we need to build true friendships based on respect and understanding, and not on expecting something in return. Stoicism teaches us to value who we are, not just what we do. When we focus on being good and doing our best, our self-esteem increases and we can connect better with people. This helps us set healthy boundaries and take care of our mental and emotional health while still sincerely helping others. Taking care of our own needs and responsibilities is not selfish, is important for our well-being. When we take care of ourselves, we become stronger and more balanced, and so we can help others in a more true and meaningful way. After all, we can only truly help others when we are strong and balanced inside. Being seen and treated as weak, Stoicism teaches about self-control and inner strength. To create an inner fortitude, we need to learn to control ourselves and set clear boundaries for our personal space. Interestingly, giving too much of ourselves to others can make us appear weak. When we don't set limits, people can take advantage of our kindness, making us feel unappreciated and overwhelmed. But by starting to say no firmly, we show that we value our time and energy, earning more respect from others. Seneca, an important Stoic philosopher, said, "What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you." By setting limits and being disciplined, we protect our mental and emotional health and earn the respect of others. The word no has power. It shows how much we value ourselves and the respect we expect from others. By applying this principle, we see our relationships transform, promoting respect based on self-esteem and dignity. However, change can be difficult. Being always available can attract people who need help, but are not there for us in happy moments. We can miss moments of joy and feel used, missing opportunities for fun. This painful lesson helps us see who really cares and who just wants to take advantage. Being selective about how we use our time and energy is a Stoic practice that helps us value true relationships. Did you know that setting boundaries is an important idea of Stoicism that not only makes us happier, but also improves our relationships? People generally respect us more when we are strong enough to say no. This shows how having self-esteem can change things and why it's important to be careful in our relationships. Following Stoic wisdom not only keeps us from burning out, but also helps us build relationships that are good for everyone. Now let's talk about how to avoid being used by others and the problems that come with being overly nice. Overcoming the fear of saying no is a big step towards respecting yourself. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard to say this simple word? Maybe it's because we learn from an early age that being kind means always saying yes to others. This idea is planted in us in childhood, along with the fear of being rejected. This leads us to believe that our value lies in being constantly accepted by others. However, Stoicism challenges us to question these old patterns and encourages us to seek control over our own lives. As we grow up, we realize that we no longer need to follow these old habits. We have the freedom to change the way we relate to others, recognizing that we are no longer hostage to the fears we learned in childhood. Stoicism gives us tools to understand our feelings and face life's challenges without being dominated by these patterns. Saying no to requests that exceed our limits, especially when they affect our well-being, is not only a way of facing old fears, but also of showing that we value ourselves and that we can set our own limits. It is important to balance our assertiveness with empathy, recognizing that saying no does not mean being insensitive to the feelings of others, but rather caring for ourselves with respect and authenticity. Stoicism does not say that we should only think about ourselves or be alone. It also teaches the value of helping our community and the people around us. He advises us to find a balance where we can help others without harming our own health. This requires emotional intelligence, which helps us understand when and how to help in a way that works for everyone. The true wisdom of Stoicism is in recognizing the needs of others while respecting our own limits. This ensures that our acts of kindness are not only disciplined, but also filled with compassion. This helps build a society where people respect and help each other. Another tip is to pay attention to your feelings. Following Stoicism leads us to reflect and be mindful, encouraging us to examine our feelings and thoughts. It helps us take care of our inner peace by noticing how we feel, especially when doing kind things. Helping others should make us feel good, like clouds make us feel lighter. If we start to feel exhausted, angry, or taken advantage of, it's time to change our perspective. Acknowledging how we feel is not lying to ourselves. It's a courageous act of self-care that keeps our kindness from becoming stressful. The third tip is to put yourself first. Sometimes we dedicate ourselves so much to others that we forget to take care of ourselves. It is important to make time for self-care, following the Stoic virtues of discipline and self-esteem. Take care of your physical, emotional, and mental health by accepting yourself completely and forgiving yourself for past mistakes. See next year as an opportunity for renewal. Choose activities that make you happy and make time to show yourself love. Keep your boundaries clear and don't feel bad about turning down requests that get in the way of your own recovery. Help others within your limits, making it clear that your health comes first. The fourth tip is an important piece of the puzzle, identifying who is willing to take risks. By incorporating Stoic virtues like self-discipline and discernment into our lives, we gain the ability to discern between relationships that enrich us and those that drain us. Dealing with people who always demand more, be it attention, time, or resources, is like being a garden caretaker. We waste energy and feel drained by insatiable people. Stoicism teaches us the importance of inner fortitude and reminds us that true transformation begins within us. We cannot change others just by being kind. Lasting change is a personal journey that requires our own determination and effort. This philosophy does not encourage us to be cold or distant. Rather, it promotes a balanced approach to relationships. In the midst of this delicate dance of giving and receiving, being overly generous can leave us feeling empty, while being overly conservative can leave us feeling lonely. Finding a healthy balance is essential to maintaining our emotional integrity and cultivating meaningful relationships. Stoicism invites us to look within ourselves for strength and guidance, reminding us that we are the guardians of our own happiness and well-being. Stoicism teaches us to be kind and generous, but it also reminds us to think carefully and cut ties when necessary to preserve our mental and emotional health. We live in an era where empathy is essential, but it is also essential to find a balance so that our acts of kindness do not exhaust us. Healthy relationships are those in which both partners grow, not where one suffers, so that the other prospers. We must reflect deeply on our actions and how they affect not only others but also ourselves. Stoicism highlights the importance of controlling our generosity, reminding us not to sacrifice our main goals just to please others. Generosity without discernment can lead to burnout and frustration, undermining our ability to help effectively. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "Goodness is a treasure to be guarded and used with discernment." This phrase reminds us that, like any other precious resource, kindness must be managed wisely. When we practice generosity with discernment, we connect more deeply and authentically with the people around us. This does not mean that we must be cold or calculating, but rather that we must be aware of our limits and the consequences of our actions. For example, helping a friend in their time of need is a noble act, but if we constantly sacrifice our own well-being for them, we end up creating a cycle of dependency that is unhealthy for either party. Finding that balance between generosity and self-preservation can be challenging, but it is essential for developing truly healthy, mutually beneficial relationships. We must be able to say no when necessary, without feeling guilty, but rather see it as an act of respect for ourselves and others. This not only preserves our energy and well-being, but also teaches others to be independent and responsible. Additionally, Stoicism reminds us of the importance of acting with intention and purpose. Instead of distributing our kindness indiscriminately, we can choose specific moments and ways to be generous that really make a difference. This could mean dedicating quality time to a cause we're passionate about, offering practical help to someone at a crucial time, or simply being an attentive listener to someone who needs to vent. Ultimately, practicing generosity wisely allows us to create a lasting positive impact without compromising our own health and happiness. Remember that when you take care of yourself, you are better prepared to take care of others. By adopting these Stoic principles, we can build a balanced and meaningful life where kindness is a truly valuable treasure, shared in ways that enrich everyone. Let's do a quick exercise to expand our minds. In this part of the video, we are not here to judge, we are here to awaken and harness the power of our minds and thoughts. We will see how to master our mind, even in a world full of distractions, using Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have control over your mind, not over external events. Recognize this and you will find strength. Let's explore how to use these words to strengthen our minds. Are you ready? Let's get started. First, it's crucial to divert attention from what others think. Instead, focus on your own mind. A fundamental part of mastering your mind is learning to set aside the opinions of others, allowing your mind to focus on your own thoughts. It's interesting how we value our own opinion more than that of others, yet we still care about what they think about us. This contradiction shows how we are always caught up in the search for external approval, often damaging our own inner peace. True mental freedom comes when we free ourselves from the need for external validation and begin to trust our own assessment more. Marcus Aurelius shared an idea that captures this feeling well. Imagine a place where any criticism or unsolicited opinion about your choices is drowned out by the sound of your own conscience. It's not about building a wall around your ego. It's about cultivating a garden in your mind, where your own values and beliefs feed your thoughts, rather than being trampled on by the judgments of others. To control your mind, it is important to free yourself from these external influences. This allows your true self to grow without depending on the approval of others. Consider the case of a talented young artist whose sense of self has been undermined by fear of judgment. With every stroke of his brush, he worried about what others would think, until he discovered the principles of Stoicism. He learned that his worth came from his own opinion and that criticism was only superficial in the face of his deep self-confidence. By delving into his own essence, his artistic expression became an authentic reflection of his inner world, without fear of external judgment. This shows how internal reflection can transform our view of the world and how true mastery of the mind starts from the inside out. However, following this path is not simple. It's a constant battle against the craving for external validation. However, it is in this struggle that we discover true freedom. Stoic philosophy teaches us to value what is within us, rather than seeking approval from what is outside. By cultivating our own capacity for discernment, resilience, and growth, we begin to master our own minds. In addition to learning to disregard external opinions, Stoicism emerges as a modern philosophy that guides us in the search for peace and inner strength, promoting lasting emotional resilience. Second lesson: a jewel does not become shiny without being polished, and a person does not become better without facing challenges, said Seneca, a famous philosopher. The second step on our path to mastering the mind, building emotional resilience, is based on this idea. In this busy world, living is like following a path full of obstacles, like an exciting and dangerous adventure, where problems and difficulties arise every day, just as the sun rises every morning. Sometimes you may find yourself stuck in difficulties, anxiety, or sadness as you walk this path called life. This doesn't mean you are weak. They are opportunities to develop resilient and lasting strength. Failures along the journey are not just passing disappointments. They are valuable lessons that come in the form of temporary defeat. Use your own inner strength to turn every obstacle into a chance for growth. We know this is not easy. Facing a big challenge can make you feel overwhelmed, and it's normal to feel that way. However, instead of letting difficulties get you down, think about how you can use them to your advantage and bring you closer to your goals. True resilience comes from the courage and persistence that maintains your determination, even in the most difficult times. Emotional resilience, this inner strength, is like tempering steel in a fire. Imagine the journey of a young entrepreneur whose business was facing failure due to economic problems. With every obstacle and rejection, he felt discouraged. But instead of giving up, he decided to face the challenges, learning from his mistakes and transforming difficulties into opportunities for growth. This resilience made him stronger, allowing him to overcome adversity and achieve the success he so desired. Still, he continued, seeing each problem as a lesson in disguise. This person not only overcame the ordeal, but also came out of it stronger, more flexible, and with a better idea of how to move forward. The ability to face difficulties and learn from them is what shows true emotional resilience. Mastering your perception of difficulties is the first step to developing this resilience. Stoicism teaches us that things that happen or outcomes are not good or bad in and of themselves. The way we think about these things is what makes us feel and react. Emotional resilience does not mean ignoring setbacks or ignoring pain. It means realizing that you have the power and wisdom to understand them in a way that helps you grow as a person and strengthens your inner strength. Embrace this wisdom, see how strong you are, and improve the story of your journey by taking control of your mind. Third, utilize the power of your perspective. Imagine yourself walking along a familiar trail, a path you have walked many times before. On a well-planned day, a moment of unexpected chaos arises when your foot slips and you end up tripping. But what if, instead of focusing on the fall, you trained your mind to see the step itself? This approach reflects the resilient wisdom of Epictetus, who stated, "People are not disturbed by things but by their view of things. Perception acts as a window to the world around us. It shapes how we interpret what happens." It's easy to forget that we have the power to change the way we see the world around us, especially when we face difficult times or confusing situations. When life throws us into rough seas, it doesn't always mean we're going to drown. It could just be an opportunity to learn how to swim. Just as an experienced captain guides a ship through a storm, we must direct our minds to thoughts that help us, not harm us. For example, if a work presentation doesn't go as planned, don't see it as a failure. See it as a valuable lesson that contributes to your growth and increases your resilience for future tasks. Recognizing difficulties without letting them define our identity or abilities is fundamental. However, this does not mean ignoring challenges or minimizing mistakes made. Becoming skilled in the art of perception requires patience and practice. Just like a muscle that we strengthen through exercise, our perception develops the more we exercise it. At every moment, we can question negative views and replace them with more constructive perspectives. Over time, this process becomes automatic, becoming an integral part of our mind, helping us to master it. There is deep wisdom in the way we choose to deal with the obstacles and setbacks we encounter in life. Every challenge can be an opportunity in disguise, ready to be discovered when we use the right lens to see things differently. Imagine yourself as a wrestler, training diligently with your trainer to perfect your skills. Just as this athlete strives to become stronger and more agile, we too can use each obstacle as a chance for personal growth. The ancient Stoics reminded us that a person's true character reveals itself in difficult times. Every mistake we make can be seen as a valuable learning opportunity. Just as a skilled teacher molds a disciple, each challenge helps us take control of our minds and emotions, making us stronger and more resilient. Instead of being seen as failures, these moments of difficulty can be seen as steps towards success, if we know how to take advantage of the lessons they offer us. When we find ourselves faced with an important choice in life, where our inner compass seems confused, it is as if we are sailing on unknown oceans, where each wave brings a different uncertainty. Situations like losing your job suddenly, losing a loved one unexpectedly, or facing rejection can leave us without clear direction. It is at these times that we must remember the wise words of Marcus Aurelius. Life is but change, and change is nature's delight. This is the fourth lesson in our journey to master our minds. Follow what nature teaches us. Just as the seasons change and the wind changes direction, life is also full of inevitable changes. While it's scary to face uncertainty, it's important to remember that these changes aren't necessarily bad for our inner peace. In fact, it's these unexpected moments that offer us the chance to adapt and grow. When we're faced with a storm of change, it's easy to become overwhelmed by fear of the unknown. However, it is crucial not to give up or let fear affect our decisions. Instead, we must remember that nature is always in motion, and it is this dynamic that drives us forward. Just as a tree bends in the wind, we must bend in the face of life's changes, confident that we can adapt and flourish no matter what the future holds. Instead of resisting, we must move forward with the understanding that change is a natural part of life. We can navigate the turbulent currents of life with serenity if we align ourselves with the natural flow of things. We don't complain to the skies if it rains on a sunny day or if a storm arises on a clear night, because we understand that this is natural and beyond our control. In the same way, we must deal with life's challenges, accept them, and adapt with resilience. By accepting the flow of life and navigating the tides of change, we can achieve a level of tranquility and empowerment that is unmatched. Nature and life cannot be molded to suit our desires. Instead, we need to learn to flow naturally with them, keeping our true essence intact. 5. Be disciplined with yourself. Think about your life so far and reflect on how you have handled the distractions that have come your way. We've all experienced times when we've been tempted to abandon our goals, like choosing to watch our favorite series instead of studying for a test, or indulging in an extra slice of that delicious cake while trying to stick to our diet. The nobility of our ambitions and the strength of our self-discipline are themes frequently discussed by the great Stoic philosopher Seneca. Seneca teaches us that mastering our mind requires the constant practice of self-discipline. It's the shield that protects us from distractions and helps us stay focused on our life goals. Imagine a skilled gardener tending several beds of colorful flowers. He doesn't just favor pretty rose bushes, he devotes equally careful attention to tulips and sunflowers. Likewise, self-discipline allows us to take care of all areas of our lives with balance and dedication. But how can we cultivate this self-discipline? It is important to be aware of moments when temptations arise to divert us from the right path. Knowing our personal weaknesses and pitfalls helps us develop strategies to resist distractions and maintain our commitment to what really matters. This involves not only resisting instant gratification, but also cultivating habits and routines that strengthen our resolve. For example, setting clear and specific goals, creating a detailed action plan, and setting realistic deadlines are essential steps to strengthening our self-discipline. Additionally, learning to say no when necessary and seeking support from people who share our values and goals are also effective strategies. By practicing self-discipline, we not only strengthen our ability to achieve our goals, but we also cultivate a sense of personal accomplishment and confidence in our own abilities. Just as a skilled gardener takes care of his flowers with dedication, we can take care of our goals and aspirations with the same determination and care. When we are faced with distractions and temptations that divert our focus from the path we have chosen for ourselves, it is important not to look at them harshly. Instead, we must understand that they are part of life. Identifying what distracts us and takes us away from our goals helps us remove them from our path. Just as a skilled gardener tends to different types of flowers, we need to face each distraction with determination. From resisting personal temptations to developing the mental strength to face challenges at work, self-discipline is crucial to mastering our minds. When we feel like we are about to give up or give in, remembering Epictetus's wise words is essential. Nothing great is done all at once. Just like any skill, self-discipline requires constant practice and continuous effort. Living in the present moment is a skill that many of us forget. With so much concern about the past or the future, we miss the opportunity to truly enjoy the present. Marcus Aurelius reminds us of this when he says, "Don't let the big picture of your life overwhelm you. Don't worry about all the different problems that may have happened in the past or that may happen in the future. Just think about the present and how you can improve it." We must learn to appreciate each moment, as it is in them that the essence of life lies. Instead of getting lost in thoughts about what has already passed or what is yet to come, we should focus our energy on the present moment, where we can act and influence. Time passes quickly, and every moment we waste regretting the past or worrying about the future is a moment we will never have again. By living fully in the present, we open the doors to true happiness and fulfillment. So take a deep breath, feel the moment, and enjoy every second that life offers. Entering the world of reading is like opening a door to a vast universe of knowledge and discovery. Many important figures in history were avid readers, finding ideas and inspiration in the pages of books. Following in these people's footsteps can be an effective way to boost your own intelligence and stay ahead. Reading is not just a habit, but a journey of continuous learning and expanding horizons. Before you begin your reading journey, it's helpful to create a list of books that cover a wide range of topics. This list could include works on art, history, business, science, and any other subject that piques your interest. Variety is key as it allows you to explore different perspectives and gain a broader understanding of the world around you. In addition to books, articles and blogs on different topics can also enrich your list, offering a diverse source of information and ideas. By diving into diverse topics, you expand your mind and open new avenues for creativity and innovation. Each book you read offers a unique opportunity for learning and personal growth. So embark on this journey of literary discovery with an open mind and curiosity, and let yourself be immersed in the fascinating world of books. When you have a list of books to read, set aside a special time every day or weekly to immerse yourself in this unique experience. See this time as a valuable opportunity to expand your horizons, delve into new ideas, and stimulate your creative thinking. Allow yourself to absorb the knowledge and wisdom contained in the pages of the chosen books, letting yourself be involved in the learning process. Additionally, participating in reading clubs or discussion groups can further enrich your literary journey. By connecting with people who share your interests, you have the opportunity to exchange ideas, explore different perspectives, and deepen your understanding of the works you are reading. This interaction not only broadens your worldview, but can also lead to discoveries of new books and authors that would otherwise go unnoticed. Reading widely not only makes you more informed, but also helps you develop an agile and creative mind. The diversity of literary themes and styles fuels your imagination, expands your understanding of the world, and strengthens your ability to think critically. So delve into the vast ocean of literature, allowing each page to be a door to new discoveries and insights. As for the importance of having a growth mindset, this means that you believe you can improve your skills and knowledge with effort and dedication. Instead of avoiding challenges, you see them as chances to learn and grow, facing obstacles with courage and determination. This mindset not only helps you overcome difficulties, but also motivates you to seek new challenges and explore different areas. You understand that failing is part of learning and see mistakes as opportunities to evolve and improve. By adopting a growth mindset, you free yourself from the limitations you impose on yourself and become more open to the endless possibilities of personal growth and fulfillment. You're more likely to innovate and make the most of your current skills if you keep an open mind. This can mean learning new things, expanding your knowledge in different areas, and improving what you already know how to do. Receiving constructive feedback is crucial to growing intellectually. Instead of feeling like feedback can hurt your self-esteem, you see it as an opportunity to learn and evolve. Your perspective is valuable, and you recognize that the people around you have a lot to teach. Imagine you are a young person in school and you are working on your career. One day you receive a grade for an important test and you don't pass. Instead of giving up or feeling discouraged, you view this failure as a chance to learn and grow. You don't avoid the problem, but face it head-on. He decides to learn from his mistakes, makes a new study plan, looks for useful materials, and strives to improve in this subject. With a growth mindset, you not only overcome obstacles, but also become better at what you do. Discover that you're becoming stronger, more flexible, and capable of facing future challenges. Having a growth mindset is not just an attitude, it's an exciting journey that lasts a lifetime. It requires commitment, dedication, and a little persistence. Imagine yourself as an explorer, always ready to face new challenges and discover new knowledge. By adopting this mindset, you open yourself up to a world of infinite possibilities. This mindset isn't just about achieving specific goals, it's about the ongoing process of learning and personal growth. It's about accepting challenges as opportunities for growth, always looking for new ways to expand your horizons and reach your full potential. It's a journey of self-discovery and personal transformation, where every obstacle turns into an opportunity to learn and grow. By embracing a growth mindset, you prepare yourself for lifelong learning, recognizing that intelligence and skills can be developed with effort and practice. You become more flexible and adaptable, willing to try new ideas and embrace new opportunities. Instead of seeing failure as a defeat, you see it as a necessary step towards success. Always remember, your intelligence is not fixed. It can grow and develop over time. With a growth mindset, you are in control of your intellectual destiny, ready to reach new heights and accomplish things that once seemed impossible. So embark on this journey with enthusiasm and determination, knowing that the sky is the limit when it comes to personal and intellectual growth. Number 4, accepting failure and learning from it is crucial to success. If you want to be smarter than others, You need to understand that failing is part of the path to achieving your goals. Every mistake brings valuable lessons that can strengthen you. Instead of getting discouraged, it's an opportunity to improve. Imagine you are like an entrepreneur starting a new business. You face many challenges in the beginning, such as developing a product that the market wants, attracting customers with effective marketing strategies, or dealing with financial problems. Instead of giving up, learn from these challenges, analyze what went wrong, discover better ways of doing things, and adapt. This way, you gain valuable experience, improve your business, and eventually achieve success. Resilience, humility, and courage are fundamental to accepting and learning from failure. It means being honest about your mistakes, being open to feedback, and ready to change. When you accept failure, you lose your fear of making mistakes and feel more comfortable taking risks. This also helps develop a growth mindset, where challenges are opportunities to learn and improve. Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It is an essential part of the path to achieving it. Accepting and learning from failure not only makes you smarter than others, it also sets you up for future success. Number 5. Learn to think critically. Thinking critically is like using a magnifying glass for your brain, allowing you to see beyond appearances and understand the complicated details of a problem. Imagine yourself as a detective investigating a mystery, examining all the clues carefully. This skill helps you analyze, evaluate, and understand information fairly and intelligently. By developing critical thinking, you become a master at questioning what seems true, opening yourself up to different points of view, and discovering new solutions. It is an intellectual journey where you explore new territories of the mind. For example, imagine yourself as an explorer in an unknown land. Each new piece of information is a treasure to be discovered and examined carefully. If you're doing a school project, critical thinking is like a compass. When faced with contradictory information, you do not accept simple answers. Instead, delve deeply, evaluates the reliability of sources, questions the reasons behind the information, and analyzes the consistency of the evidence presented. By honing your critical thinking skills, you become a master in the art of analysis, capable of unraveling complex mysteries and solving difficult problems. It's a powerful tool that helps you make informed decisions, defend your opinions with confidence, and face challenges with creativity and intelligence. Developing critical thinking is like building a mental fortress, reinforcing its foundations with solid reasoning and sharp discernment. This allows you to separate what is valuable from what is not. Imagine yourself as an architect building a sturdy structure. Every detail is selected carefully to ensure the solidity of the project. Likewise, when writing a research paper, your critical thinking skills serve as glue, holding all the parts together with solid evidence and logical reasoning. To improve your critical thinking skills, it's important to cultivate intellectual humility. Be willing to acknowledge when you're wrong and be open to changing your mind with new information. Avoid being biased by examining all relevant information before reaching a conclusion. By learning to think critically, you become a skilled navigator in the ocean of information, able to navigate the turbulent waters with confidence. Equipped with critical thinking, you can make smart choices, solve complex problems, and contribute meaningfully to society. In short, one of the most important ways to become smarter is to learn to think critically. This helps you think clearly, reason better, and connect more deeply with the world around you. Take on the challenge of developing your critical thinking skills today to reach your full potential. Number 6. Learn to listen actively. This skill is crucial for personal and professional growth, as it involves giving your interlocutor your full attention, listening with empathy and trying to understand their point of view. Active listening is not just being present physically, but also mentally, setting aside distractions and showing genuine interest in what is being said. Imagine being in a work meeting where a colleague shares his ideas about a new project. While he speaks, some of his colleagues are distracted looking at their cell phones, drawing or talking to each other. This lack of attention can be perceived as disrespectful by the speaker and negatively affect the work environment. To avoid this, you decide to practice active listening. Practicing active listening involves more than simply hearing words. It is a demonstration of respect and consideration for others. This means making eye contact, nodding your head to show you're following along, and asking pertinent questions to clarify points that aren't clear. Furthermore, it also involves being willing to listen without prior judgment, allowing the other person to feel valued and understood. By developing this skill, you not only strengthen your interpersonal relationships, but also improve your ability to resolve conflicts, negotiate and collaborate more effectively. Active listening is not only a tool for the workplace, but also for everyday life, helping to build more meaningful connections and contributing to a more harmonious and productive environment. Therefore, whether in the boardroom or in informal conversations, practicing active listening can make a significant difference in how you relate to others and how you are perceived by them. About active listening: when someone is talking, look at them and nod every now and then to show that you are listening. Do not interrupt or speak your own thoughts. This allows the person to say whatever they want. Ask questions to understand better and repeat important points to make sure you get it right. This way you show respect for the other person, facilitate conversation, and share ideas. Active listening is not just understanding what the person says, but also how they feel and what they want to say. This helps with communication, strengthens relationships, and teaches you a lot about what others think and feel. Practicing active listening also makes you more attentive and caring, able to make important connections and work well with others. About solving problems. Solving problems is an important part of learning and being smart. To achieve what you want, you first need to identify the problems. Think of possible solutions and put effective plans into practice. To improve your problem-solving skills, be creative, persistent, and willing to take risks. Face problems with optimism and believe that you can overcome them. For example, if you have a difficult problem at work, bring your team together to share ideas. Encourage everyone to think in new ways and question their ideas. By working together and trying different things, you can create a plan and use available resources to solve the problem. This way, you overcome challenges and achieve success. Encouraging creativity and new ideas. Innovation and creativity are important for progress and intellectual growth. This means thinking differently, questioning what already exists, and presenting new ideas and solutions. To encourage creativity and new ideas, keep an open mind, be ready to take risks and dedicate yourself to discovering new things. This involves letting go of the common and embracing the new. For example, if you are an artist starting a new painting, try different techniques and styles. Forget what you already know about art and unleash your imagination. This way, you discover new ways to express yourself and create something that moves and inspires others. To encourage creativity, it is important to create an environment that values curiosity, encourages experimentation, and respects different points of view. I hope these versions are useful and understandable for a 10-year-old. Creating a place where everyone can share their ideas and collaborate is very important. This helps people feel encouraged to contribute new ideas and discover opportunities. When we do this, we are using our creativity to the fullest and inspiring others to do the same. This also helps you make positive and important changes. Coming up with innovative ideas and thinking about the future helps shape how things will be. In short, encouraging creativity and new ideas is essential for everyone to grow together and individually. This allows us to challenge the way things are done, push boundaries, and build a better future for everyone. Learning to enjoy learning is very important. It is one of the most useful things to keep your mind sharp and intelligent throughout your life. It means being interested, excited, and motivated to learn new things and improve your skills. To enjoy learning, it is important to be open to new ideas and always be willing to improve. Seeing learning as a journey, and not just a goal, is very important too. Imagine you are a student preparing for a test. If you approach your studies with interest and curiosity, looking for new ways to learn and considering different points of view, this will help a lot. Additionally, thinking critically and creatively and using what you learn to solve real-life problems is very helpful. When you enjoy learning, you better understand what you are studying and acquire skills that will be useful outside of school. Being proactive and self-focused when it comes to learning is very important if you want to truly love knowledge. This means setting goals, looking for ways to improve, and always growing. When you truly love learning, you are always looking for new challenges and opportunities to learn more. Additionally, it makes you more flexible and able to face life's challenges with confidence. In short, cultivating this love of learning is essential to grow intellectually and be happy. It helps you reach your full potential, follow your dreams, and live a life of purpose. Having people around you with different experiences and points of view is very important for your personal and intellectual development. This means being around people with different backgrounds and unique opinions, and being open to honest conversations with them. To have different perspectives around you, it is important to be humble, empathetic, and always be open to learning from others. Recognizing that everyone has something valuable to offer and that we can learn from others' experiences and ideas is very important. For example, if you're working on a project with people from different cultures, don't just stick with your own ideas. Listen to what your colleagues have to say, understand their points of view, and use this to collaborate and find creative solutions. Imagining a society where everyone celebrates diversity is like thinking about a beautiful garden, where each flower contributes to the overall beauty. When we connect with people from different backgrounds and perspectives, we are cultivating a rich environment for us to grow personally and socially. By engaging with people who have different views than ours, we are challenged to question our own beliefs and expand our horizons. This is like exploring new paths in a dense forest, discovering landscapes we never imagined existed. Furthermore, by embracing diversity, we build bridges that connect us in deep and meaningful ways. This transforms us into more sensitive citizens, capable of promoting positive changes in our communities and around the world. How would you like to live your life? This simple question invites us to reflect on our deepest values and our most sincere aspirations. It is an invitation to break the cycles of mediocrity and disappointment that so often limit us. Only in the silence of this introspection can we begin to glimpse the unfulfilled potential that awaits us. This moment of reflection is not just about setting big goals or making grandiose promises. It's about making an intimate, unwavering promise to ourselves. It is the commitment to change, grow, and transcend the cycle of limitations that imprisons us. The Stoics, with their deep understanding of human nature, offer a guide for traversing this complex terrain. Epictetus reminds us, first, tell yourself what you would like to be, and then do what you have to do. This maxim sums up the essence of Stoic philosophy, which not only encourages planning and deliberate action, but also emphasizes the importance of aligning our desires with our actions. It is an invitation to live with integrity, acting in accordance with our highest principles and constantly seeking the best in ourselves. Therefore, when facing this personal journey, it is not just about achieving external goals or gaining recognition. It's about finding meaning and satisfaction within, regardless of external circumstances. It's about committing to yourself every step of the way, ensuring that every action is an authentic reflection of who you aspire to be. Aligning who we are with qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance is very important. Imagine life as a journey where we not only set goals, but also cultivate those qualities that shape our personality. These virtues are not just distant ideas. They are guides for how to act every day, an invitation to live according to the principles we respect and admire. Stoicism teaches us that achieving great things is not a gift of fate, but the result of the choices we make and the actions we take regularly. Instead of just accepting what happens in life, he encourages us to actively participate, to shape who we are and how we act in situations. It's committing to live honestly and courageously, even when we face challenges and difficult times. On the path to becoming exceptional people, we will face difficulties and disappointments. The Stoics saw these moments as opportunities to strengthen our resolve and improve as people. They believed that the first step to achieving excellence is to know yourself, to understand our goals, and most importantly, to act daily in accordance with those ideals. So it's not just about making plans or setting ambitious goals, but about incorporating these principles into our being. It's about learning to truly be who we aspire to be, acting virtuously and in harmony with what is natural. This ongoing commitment to our personal growth and authenticity not only guides us in times of peace, but also strengthens us during life's challenging moments. Think of a version of you who always chooses to do what is right, even when everything around you is confusing and full of pressure. According to Stoic teachings, this marks the beginning of a dedicated life where all your thoughts and actions are aligned with that best version of yourself. Imagine yourself as the hero of your own story, drawing inspiration from this ideal to overcome the limitations that surround you. Free yourself from conformity and rise up with courage and conviction. Stoic philosophy teaches that every conscious decision, made with purpose, is a step towards personal transformation and building a legacy of excellence. When we face challenges with unwavering determination, we not only set ourselves up for success, but we also inspire those around us to begin their own journey of self-discovery. Leave mediocrity behind and embrace a future full of opportunities. Now is the time to take a courageous step toward a life of meaning, opportunity, and unprecedented achievement. By following Stoic teachings, you strengthen your inner essence and become a source of inspiration for others seeking to walk the path of authenticity and virtue. The first thing we learn from Stoicism is that our thoughts have a lot of power. It's essential to keep our minds focused on what's important to us, especially in a world full of things that distract and pressure us. When we can control our thoughts and feelings, we can challenge the way things are done and strive for greatness. To break out of mediocrity and grow as a person, we need to understand that our ideas shape how we see the world. By following the principles of Stoicism, such as emotional control, rationality, and focus, we develop skills to face life's challenges with balance and strength. Even when faced with difficulties, we can choose to see these situations as opportunities to grow and learn. This shift in thinking not only changes how we view life, but also how we live. We start to see each day as a chance to practice virtues such as patience, strength, and courage. When we challenge the way we interact with the world, we understand that the real battles happen inside our minds. So breaking the cycle of mediocrity starts with a new perspective. It is not enough to simply understand the teachings of Stoicism. We need to apply them to all aspects of our lives. Second lesson, being strong means accepting what happens, called resilience. Stoicism teaches us to accept destiny and escape the cycle of mediocrity, disappointment, and exaggerated thinking that can hinder us. This ancient philosophy suggests that we can choose how to react to the things that happen to us, even when we cannot change the events themselves. Imagine life as a journey across a vast ocean, where we are navigators of our own boats, weathering storms and sailing through calm waters. What Marcus Aurelius teaches us is that even when the waves are choppy and the wind blows against us, we must accept the conditions of the sea in which we sail. Accepting destiny is not surrendering to what happens, but rather adjusting our sails and continuing to sail with courage and determination. It's as if we become captains of our own ships, confidently sailing through the waters of life, knowing that each challenge shapes and strengthens us. When we embrace the circumstances that life brings us, we are choosing to be the protagonists of our own story, instead of simple spectators. Acceptance does not just mean passively accepting what happens, but controlling our reactions and finding meaning even in the most difficult situations. Accepting our destiny leads us to a state of inner serenity and wisdom. We recognize that while we cannot control everything, we can control how we respond. This active acceptance empowers us to transform challenges into opportunities and find beauty in even the most difficult adversities. Therefore, by embracing what destiny has in store for us, we are making room for our personal growth and fulfillment, sailing with confidence towards the unknown horizon of life. This way of seeing things challenges us to see every problem and disappointment as an opportunity to practice qualities such as patience, resilience, and persistence. Thus, we change how we feel about failure, not seeing it as the end, but as a step towards success. This change in thinking is crucial to breaking the cycles of despair and failure that pass from one generation to the next. Failure teaches us that our power is not in avoiding it, but in how we deal with it, helping us develop a mindset of continuous learning and improvement. Furthermore, learning from Stoicism teaches us not to overthink, which prevents us from taking action and makes us unhappy. Life's challenges can be faced with balance if we accept what we cannot change and work hard on what we can influence. Finding this harmony between acceptance and action helps us achieve our goals and realize our full potential. This helps us avoid getting stuck in endless analysis and allows us to move forward, even when we don't know what the future holds. Applying this wisdom to our daily lives increases our ability to face challenges, which not only helps us on our own journeys, but also frees us from the limits imposed by past generations, paving the way for a future full of achievement, happiness, and success. The third lesson of Stoicism invites us to use the power of the present moment to break the cycles that limit us. It's a call to be fully present, without letting distractions from the past or anxieties about the future keep us from acting with clarity and purpose now. Living in the present, as taught by Stoicism, does not mean running away from life's challenges, but rather facing them head-on with a focused and calm mind. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wisely expressed, "True happiness is enjoying the present without worrying about the future." This perspective leads us to direct our attention to what is happening right now, freeing us from the constraints of excessive thoughts and constant worries. When we are fully present, we are able to act decisively and efficiently. This not only improves our ability to deal with challenges that arise, but also allows us to more fully appreciate the small joys of everyday life. It is an invitation to cultivate a conscious and active presence, where every moment is an opportunity to grow, learn, and truly be ourselves. Imagine yourself as someone observing a garden full of life, where every thought, action, and feeling are like flowers that need care. Stoicism teaches us to be careful gardeners of our minds, consciously cultivating what we want to grow and letting go of what stops us from growing. Being present is not just noticing what is happening around us, but also being connected to our own inner experience. It's as if we were in tune with life, recognizing the opportunities to learn and change that arise every moment. On this journey of discovering ourselves, we face choices all the time. We can follow the familiar path of just accepting things as they are, or we can embrace the challenge of acting with purpose and intention. Every moment is a chance to make a conscious choice, to free ourselves from the patterns that hold us back, and to embrace a new path of truth and satisfaction. With this mindset, we can break the shackles of mediocrity and actively shape our own future. Every action, even small, becomes important in building a more meaningful and happy life. The present becomes our training ground, where we develop the courage, strength, and wisdom necessary to face the challenges that life brings us. Therefore, by fully embracing the present moment, we become the architects of our own happiness, shaping our destiny with every conscious choice we make. Being present also teaches us to walk the fine line between wanting more and being happy with what we have. While Stoicism tells us to strive for excellence, it also tells us not to tie our happiness to achieving future goals. We can develop a sense of satisfaction that is not saved for future success, but that is felt right now, finding value in the process, in the small steps we take every day. This method lessens the disappointment that comes with not getting what we want and the paralysis that comes with overthinking every possible outcome. We can change our reality, develop resilience against the tides of mediocrity, and pave the way for long-term success when we learn to live fully in each moment. The fourth lesson is about the virtues of self-reflection and always improving. Stoicism introduces the crucial practices of self-reflection and continuous improvement in the effort to break the cycle of mediocrity, disappointment, and overthinking. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, says that we should think and reflect on our actions and thoughts every day. He says that self-reflection is the only way to see our true selves without the chaos and confusion of the external world getting in the way. This practice of self-reflection is a powerful way to find the patterns and habits that hold us back and keep us unhappy and dissatisfied. Imagine self-reflection as looking inside yourself, as if it were a magic mirror, where each reflection not only shows who we are now, but also who we want to become. It's like a journey to the center of our being, exploring deeply our soul in search of being genuine and constantly improving. On this path of self-discovery, we must not fear what we encounter, but rather embrace all aspects of our true nature, both the good things and the imperfections. It's like exploring the landscapes of an unknown place within ourselves, discovering hidden treasures and facing the challenges that appear along the journey. Self-reflection goes beyond simple analysis. It is a deep dive into our most intimate thoughts and deepest reasons. It's an act of courage and vulnerability, where we are honest with ourselves, even if it means confronting parts of ourselves we would rather ignore. As we look within, we recognize that the journey of self-reflection is not always easy. Sometimes we discover parts of ourselves we'd rather not see, aspects of our personality we'd like to hide. Yet it is exactly these uncomfortable discoveries that offer opportunities for growth and transformation. Therefore, we must embrace each moment of self-reflection as a chance to become wiser, more compassionate, and more authentic. It is through this continuous process of self-examination that we come closer and closer to our true essence and live in accordance with our most important values. Following these virtues guides us away from mediocrity and toward excellence. Practicing Stoic self-reflection helps us stop overthinking. By focusing on evaluating ourselves positively and taking action to improve, we learn to deal with less than good choices without fear. Instead, we do the best with what we have, learn from the results, and improve our ability to make decisions over time. This proactive mindset, through the cycle of act, reflect and change, helps us achieve our goals with clarity and purpose. By making this a regular practice in our lives, we not only escape mediocrity, but we also begin a journey of continuous growth and personal fulfillment, building a legacy of success that goes beyond what we have achieved so far. Fifth lesson: learn discipline and self-control. Seek to have discipline and control over yourself. These Stoic virtues are essential for overcoming ingrained patterns of mediocrity, disappointment, and negative thinking. They are crucial to developing a mindset and lifestyle that leads to success and happiness. Epictetus, a key figure in Stoic thought, teaches that true freedom lies not in seeking freedom for its own sake, but rather in developing discipline and self-control. This seemingly contradictory wisdom teaches that controlling our actions and desires is the first step to truly controlling our lives and outcomes. By adopting strict rules for our actions, thoughts, and daily routines, we can choose how to respond to situations, even when we can't directly change them. By equipping ourselves with these tools, we free ourselves from the chains of laziness and procrastination, which prevent us from achieving our goals. Discipline in the Stoic context goes beyond simply following rules or schedules. It's about achieving a balance that aligns with our values and goals. This means choosing what is right, but harder over what is wrong but easier, hoping for greater rewards rather than smaller ones, and staying focused even in the face of life's distractions. Our ability to self-regulate and organize is crucial to dealing with life's challenges gracefully and directing our efforts effectively to achieve our goals. Self-control, in this context, means managing our feelings and desires in ways that boost our progress rather than distract us from it. It is having the internal ability to resist immediate temptations in favor of greater achievements in the long term. Developing discipline and self-control is also a powerful strategy for combating the habit of overthinking. When we learn to act quickly and decisively, we reduce the margin for doubts and indecisions that tend to paralyze us. This active approach to life promotes an action mindset, where decisions are made not out of fear or anxiety, but out of a sense of purpose and confidence. Stoic virtues such as discipline and self-control not only help us break away from mediocrity, but also enable us to reach our full potential. They show that it is possible to transform our lives when we cultivate the ability to act with determination and clarity, directing our efforts towards what really matters. Thus, Stoicism is not just a passive philosophy of acceptance, but a powerful tool for building a life of meaning and personal fulfillment. The sixth lesson of Stoicism, which addresses the power of adaptability and embracing change, offers an essential approach to planning a meaningful and lasting path to success. In a world where mediocrity, disappointment, and excessive worry are common, the virtue of adaptability stands out as a powerful tool. The Stoics, with their profound view of life as unpredictable, taught that the ability to accept and adapt to change is fundamental to developing resilience and personal growth. Seneca, a renowned Stoic philosopher, warned against excessive rigidity in relation to our plans and expectations. He argued that this fixation can lead to suffering and frustration when circumstances inevitably take us down unplanned paths. Rather than resisting change, Stoicism encourages us to embrace it as opportunities to learn, grow, and adapt to the new realities we face. By practicing adaptability, we not only better prepare ourselves to face life's challenges, but we also cultivate an open and flexible mindset that allows us to navigate the ups and downs more smoothly. This ability does not mean simply passively surrendering to circumstances, but rather adjusting our plans and expectations wisely, always staying focused on our long-term goals. Therefore, by incorporating the lesson of adaptability into our lives, we can transform not only how we face challenges, but also how we build a path to success that is truly meaningful and sustainable over time. Instead, he supported a flexible approach to life's challenges, suggesting that we adjust our plans and perspectives when circumstances change. Dealing with problems gracefully is possible because we are able to adapt. We manage to turn setbacks into opportunities to learn and grow. In Stoic philosophy, being flexible does not mean a lack of effort or ambition. On the contrary, it shows an active involvement with the present moment, knowing how to discern what we can control and calmly accepting what we cannot. By being open to change, we free ourselves from the paralyzing control of excessive worry and frustration at seeing our dreams not come true. We can change direction when necessary and explore new ways of doing things that align with our long-term goals and core values. This willingness to adapt and grow helps us overcome the limits of mediocrity and find a path to success that can adjust to life's ups and downs. Embracing change also encourages a culture of new ideas and creativity, which are key to achieving excellence. We develop a resilience that does not fear failure, as we see each challenge as an opportunity to learn and evolve. The people around us are more likely to adopt this same mindset, which is beneficial for our personal and professional development. When we learn to deal with life's variations with adaptability and confidence, we show others how to escape the trap of disappointment and failure to achieve goals. In this way, we not only prosper, but also contribute to a more flexible, resilient, and successful society. Seventh lesson: why it's important to set limits and make lists. Learning to set clear boundaries and prioritize efficiently is essential to breaking the cycle of just being average, being disappointed, and worrying too much. This is valued in Stoic philosophy. This way of living highlights the importance of being in harmony with nature and focusing on what really matters. In Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, we are encouraged to focus our minds on what we can control. He suggests that we should direct our actions, thoughts, and energy toward the things that are most meaningful to us. With this approach, it's important to carefully consider our commitments and choose to do only what aligns with our core values and helps us achieve our long-term goals. By setting limits on our time and energy, we avoid getting caught up in things that make us merely mediocre. Prioritizing goes beyond simply eliminating unimportant things. It's also about choosing where to focus our attention and energy to get the most out of them and feel more fulfilled. Following this Stoic principle, we must live with purpose, making choices that lead to success. To do this, we need to refuse some opportunities and tasks, not out of fear or laziness, but because we know that our resources are limited and must be used wisely. Establishing priorities helps us deal with life's responsibilities in a clear and focused way, ensuring that the activities we choose lead us to grow both personally and professionally. This organized style is also useful for those who have difficulty making decisions, as it provides a clear structure for doing so. When we know what is important to us and where we draw our limits, it becomes easier to make decisions. This clarity eliminates the mental clutter that often stops us from taking action and allows us to move forward with confidence. Setting limits and creating to-do lists helps us live a life of meaning and excellence, breaking the cycle of mediocrity and laying a solid foundation for long-term success. This lesson of Stoicism not only helps us achieve our goals, but also ensures that we do so with discernment, self-esteem, and calmness. Eighth lesson: turning failure into a springboard to success. Changing our perspective on failure is crucial to breaking out of the cycle of being average, being disappointed, and overthinking. Stoicism teaches us to see failure not as a setback, but as a necessary step towards success. Following a practical approach to life's challenges, Marcus Aurelius's reflective teachings tell us that we must learn from our mistakes, seeing each failure as an opportunity for personal growth and improvement of our plans. From a Stoic perspective, we can shift our focus from the fear of failure to the realization that each attempt represents a chance to learn. When we accept that failure is a natural and valuable part of the path to excellence, we free ourselves from the paralyzing grip of excessive worry and the fear of failure. This shift in perspective is crucial to escaping the cycles of mediocrity and disappointment that keep people stuck in their comfort zones. Facing failure constructively also builds resilience, an essential quality for long-term success. The Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, that is, anticipating bad things that may happen, helps us remain calm and determined when things do not go as planned. It guides us to prepare for problems and challenges, not to worry about them all the time, but to find ways to overcome them. This proactive approach ensures that when we face failures, we do not give up, but are ready to examine what went wrong, learn from it, and move forward with greater strength and understanding. When we view failure as a stepping stone rather than an obstacle, we transform our journey towards success into a path of continuous growth and personal improvement. We can achieve great things and be happy by breaking the cycle of mediocrity. The ninth lesson of Stoicism, which emphasizes the principle of self-reliance, proves crucial to overcoming the cycle of mediocrity, disappointment, and overthinking. For Stoics, being self-reliant does not mean isolating oneself from the world or rejecting help from others, but rather cultivating an internal source of strength, satisfaction, and tranquility that is not dependent on external circumstances. This fundamental idea reminds us that true freedom and power reside in our ability to find happiness and contentment within ourselves, rather than endlessly seeking them through the approval of others or external achievements. Philosophers such as Seneca and Epictetus advocated this practice as essential for building a life of meaning and purpose, based on internal values and virtue. By embracing self-sufficiency, we develop the ability to face life's challenges with serenity and resilience. This allows us to navigate the ups and downs without losing our inner peace, as our happiness is not at the mercy of external changes or other people's opinions. Instead, we learn to trust our own abilities, our ability to adapt, and our ongoing search for virtue and wisdom. This shift in mindset not only frees us from the cycle of mediocrity, but also empowers us to live with authenticity and integrity, guided by principles that transcend the vicissitudes of life. By becoming more self-reliant, we not only improve our quality of life, but we also inspire those around us to seek their own internal source of strength and contentment. It moves us away from the constant pursuit of external rewards and toward a more meaningful and virtuous life, a clear meaning and purpose that are essential to overcoming overthinking and indecision. Practicing self-reliance also promotes this sense of clarity and purpose. When we know we have everything we need to be happy and successful, it's easier to make choices. We become less influenced by the thoughts and expectations of others and more inclined to follow paths that are aligned with our own values and goals. Being able to think and act independently is critical to achieving a successful life that goes beyond social norms and personal insecurities. Through practicing self-reliance in Stoicism, we not only gain the courage to define success on our own terms, but we also develop the resilience to maintain success in the face of setbacks. Lesson 10. How to avoid overanalysis through conscious action. To break out of the cycle of mediocrity, disappointment, and excess thoughts, Stoicism proposes the idea of conscious action, which can change everything. This principle highlights the importance of making decisions and carrying out tasks with full awareness and purpose, rather than being distracted by past regrets or future worries. Marcus Aurelius is a well-known example of this Stoic philosophy. It teaches that we must carry out our activities with a clear mind and focus, directing our energy towards meaningful goals. This full attention to action helps us overcome the paralysis caused by excessive thinking. This frees us from the traps of indecision or procrastination that keep us trapped in an ordinary life. By getting used to being fully present in our activities, we not only become more agile and efficient, but we also appreciate every moment more. Additionally, practicing mindful action helps us feel a deeper connection to our responsibilities and tasks, leading to more fulfilling and complete participation. This Stoic mindset reduces disappointment and frustration when our actions are not aligned with our values. Ensuring that our actions reflect our deepest beliefs makes each step a genuine reflection of who we are, providing integrity and consistency to our lives. By practicing conscious action, we learn to face the challenges of our goals with balance and determination, seeing setbacks as opportunities for growth. In doing so, we not only break the cycle of mediocrity, but we also begin a path to success characterized by honesty, meaning, and deep fulfillment. We must maintain the torch of wisdom by learning from the timeless teachings of Stoicism, which can guide us out of the darkness of mediocrity, disappointment, and overthinking. To achieve success, it is not necessary to avoid problems. What we really need is strength, resilience, and clarity to overcome them. By practicing the Stoic virtues of mindful action, adaptability, self-reflection, and living from our true essence, we can redefine success on our own terms and transform our goals into real achievements. The ancient wisdom of Stoicism offers a very different way of living in a world where sharing everything about our lives has become commonplace. Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius and Stoic philosophers Epictetus and Seneca taught us lessons that have stood the test of time. They showed us how important it is to keep some parts of our lives secret. The inner citadel, as explained by the Stoics, is like an unshakable fortress within ourselves, a refuge where we can reconnect with our deepest essence, away from distractions and external influences. In this personal sanctuary, we are the builders of our destiny, shaping our convictions and values based on our own intimate understanding of the world. Imagine this citadel as a beacon in the midst of darkness, emitting a light that guides us towards truth and authenticity. Here we confront our deepest thoughts and our most complex dilemmas without the influence of external expectations. It's where we face our deepest fears and celebrate our quietest achievements, away from the prying eyes of the world. In this sacred space, we engage in an intimate dialogue with ourselves, exploring the recesses of our soul in search of wisdom and discernment. Each reflection takes us deeper into our journey of self-discovery, allowing us to uncover the layers of our identity and the values that truly define us. But this journey of self-reflection is a solitary journey, meant to be done in silence and contemplation. Sharing the details of this intimate process with the outside world can dilute its essence and compromise its authenticity. That's why the Stoics remind us of the importance of preserving the privacy of our inner citadel, protecting it from prying eyes and the opinions of others. Furthermore, this inner fortress also serves as a safe haven against the storms of the outside world. Here we can find peace and serenity in the midst of chaos, focusing our attention on what really matters and cultivating a deep connection with our own essence. By focusing solely on our actions and reactions, we learn to distinguish between what we can control and what is beyond our control, strengthening our resilience and our ability to deal with life's challenges. We learn this within ourselves, in our moments of solitude. Knowing how to differentiate these two things is crucial to staying calm when things are uncertain. By protecting our inner fortress, we guarantee its strength and resistance as a source of courage and tranquility. This helps us remain steadfast in our pursuit of virtue and inner peace, as the Stoics teach us. Stoic teachings about dealing with our problems and challenges are deep and personal, shaping us in unique ways. It's as if each difficulty is a discrete teacher, teaching us valuable lessons about patience, discipline, and resilience. The Stoics advise us not to share every detail of our struggles, not because we must hide our difficulties, but to preserve the intimacy of these transformative experiences. Keeping our challenges secret helps us focus inward, reflect deeply on our own responses, and grow from them. Instead of seeking external approval or understanding from others, we learn to trust our ability to face and overcome adversity. This approach strengthens our character and allows us to draw wisdom and strength from our own journey of facing challenges. When we face personal problems with this mindset, we transform each difficulty into an opportunity for growth. We learn not only to overcome obstacles, but also to become more aware of our own capabilities and limitations. This empowers us to control our narrative, preserving our pride and integrity, while becoming architects of our own story of overcoming and personal evolution. In a world where pain is often seen as courageous and even glamorized, finding the courage to face our problems calmly and firmly, away from the public eye, gives us a sense of quiet dignity. It's as if we were building a fortress within ourselves, protecting our battles and victories from other people's curiosity. However, it's important to understand that keeping our challenges secret doesn't mean refusing help when we need it. Rather, it is recognizing that while we may seek guidance and support, the journey to overcome our difficulties is primarily a personal journey. This is in line with Stoic teachings, where we prioritize what we can directly control, our thoughts, decisions, and how we react in the face of difficulties. When we adopt this perspective, we find deep inner peace. We discover that loneliness is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to our inner strength. In moments of silence and reflection, a quiet strength grows that sustains us through life's challenges. It's where we develop resilience, learning from each challenge and emerging more confident and prepared to face the obstacles we encounter. By accepting our problems and embracing the growth they bring, we turn every obstacle into an opportunity to strengthen ourselves. Over time, we reach a place of balance and serenity, where adversity no longer shakes us so easily, but becomes a chance for personal growth and fulfillment. Thinking about politics in light of Stoic philosophy invites us to think deeply about how we interact with the ideas and systems that shape our society. Stoics such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, notable figures who were also involved in the politics of their time, emphasized the importance of staying focused on what we can control, our own conduct and pursuit of virtue. Frequently discussing politics can lead to heated disagreements and tension, interfering with our inner peace and emotional well-being. According to the Stoics, true wisdom lies in protecting this inner peace, avoiding getting involved in debates that could cause more stress than good. Instead of getting carried away by political disagreements, it is more beneficial to focus on personal growth and applying Stoic principles in everyday life. Keeping your political opinions private can not only preserve harmony in social interactions, but also allow you to dedicate yourself to building an inner life based on virtue and self-control. This does not mean alienating yourself from public affairs, but rather carefully choosing where and how to invest your energies, always prioritizing personal development aligned with the Stoic values of rationality and serenity. Hiding your political views is like guarding a precious treasure, guarding it carefully to maintain peace in your social interactions. That's not to say you don't have your own political views. Rather, it means that you value inner tranquility and harmonious relationships more than potential conflicts. It's like deciding not to touch on a sensitive issue that could cause unnecessary discussions. By keeping your political views to yourself, you are paving the way for more open and inclusive interactions, where conversations are not dominated by ideological divisions. This has deep roots in the Stoic principle of cosmopolitanism, which emphasizes mutual respect and understanding above political disagreements. It's like building a bridge across choppy waters of political differences, connecting people through shared values and common goals. Choosing not to reveal your political views allows us to have a more compassionate and authentic dialogue. This helps us listen carefully to others, understand their perspectives, and look for areas of agreement, rather than closing ourselves off in ideological bubbles. This attitude promotes Stoic values such as wisdom and justice, building a society where diversity of opinion is not seen as a threat, but as an opportunity to grow together and collaborate for the common good. By adopting this stance, we are not avoiding political debate. We are transcending it, rising above partisan bickering and seeking deeper, more meaningful understanding. In a time when political discussions often turn into intense confrontations and bitter divisions, keeping our political opinions private is a powerful reminder of the Stoic ideals of moderation, respect, and mutual understanding. Stoic philosophy, practiced by great thinkers such as Marcus Aurelius and his followers, offers valuable insight into how to deal with our plans and goals in life. They teach us that living well is not just about setting ambitious goals, but about acting in accordance with reason and virtue, prioritizing practice over speech. Keeping our plans secret is not just a matter of secrecy, but a strategy to preserve our energy and focus. Stoics value resilience, patience, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. By keeping our personal goals discreet, we can focus fully on pursuing them without being distracted by the expectations of others or the fear of premature judgment. Stoics firmly believe that we can only control our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. Therefore, by keeping our ambitions private, we are protecting them from external influences that could undermine our commitment or lead us astray. This approach is not about hiding our aspirations, but about nurturing them internally until they are ready to be shared with the world when their realization is closer and more certain. Thus, by following the Stoic advice of keeping our plans and goals secret, we not only cultivate greater self-reliance and self-confidence, but we also strengthen our resolve to face the challenges that come our way towards success and personal fulfillment. When we share our goals before we're ready, we open ourselves up to criticism and negative opinions, which can weaken our resolve or make us question our choices. Furthermore, the Stoic practice of focusing on the present and what we can control is undermined when we worry excessively about the future or what others will think of us. The process of working towards a goal is as valuable as the goal itself. This reflects the Stoic virtues of wisdom, discipline, and persistence. Keeping our goals secret ensures we have an authentic journey, without being influenced by passing social expectations. The Stoics also valued modesty and saw discreet achievement as powerful. We can be strong by working hard to achieve our goals without seeking attention. This allows us to reflect deeply on our journey, learning from mistakes and changes without worrying about what others think. Resolutely pursuing our own goals challenges us to define success personally, focusing on our growth and the satisfaction of acting in accordance with our values and skills. In a world where success is often measured by attention and recognition, Stoic philosophy reminds us that keeping our plans private is more important than seeking external approval. It teaches us that the journey itself, the challenges faced, the virtues developed, and the wisdom gained are what make true achievement so meaningful. This approach not only protects our emotional health, but also strengthens us to achieve our goals. By practicing privacy in our plans, we find clarity and determination to pursue genuine, lasting happiness through our work. Moments of vulnerability may seem strange to some, but in Stoic philosophy, which values the cultivation of virtue and resilience, these moments are seen as opportunities for growth and self-knowledge. Stoics, such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, recognize the importance of facing our weaknesses and fears as part of our personal development and understanding. These moments are deeply personal and shape our identity and the way we deal with life's challenges. Stoics would argue that these moments should be kept secret, not because they show weakness, but because they encourage internal reflection and personal growth. By keeping these moments to ourselves, we can deal with our feelings and experiences without judgment or outside influence. The solitude of these moments is ideal for deep reflection and personal discovery. Facing our fears and questioning our beliefs is like a lonely journey through the forest of the mind, where we are the only guides. Stoic philosophy encourages us to explore these inner depths, where we find our innermost thoughts and deepest feelings. It's as if we are navigating dark, unknown caves within ourselves, armed only with the flashlight of self-discipline and the courage to face the unknown. By following Stoic principles, we learn to focus on what we can directly control, our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. This puts us in charge of our own lives, enabling us to deal with our weaknesses directly and decisively. We do not seek external approval or compassion from others. Instead, we seek the true strength that comes from within, that which is forged in the furnace of our own battles. This inner journey does not mean that we must walk the path alone forever. Seeking guidance and support is an important part of the process. However, true transformation happens when we allow ourselves to face our inner demons independently. It's as if we were building an internal fortress where we find the security and confidence to deal with the challenges that life presents us. The journey to mastering yourself is a personal and unique journey. It's about finding the courage to look within ourselves and confront the most difficult and uncomfortable parts of our own existence. Only by becoming masters of our own thoughts and emotions can we truly achieve the inner peace and freedom we so desperately seek. When we return home and face our deepest fears, we display the virtues of courage and wisdom taught by the Stoics. In these moments, we practice ideas of serenity and courage, better preparing ourselves to face the world. Keeping our weaknesses secret recognizes the value of continued personal growth. This teaches us to see our mistakes as opportunities to learn and improve. By being honest about our weaknesses, we demonstrate courage, wisdom, and self-confidence, strengthening our character and keeping our journey of self-mastery genuine. We find the strength and wisdom to live by the Stoic principles of virtue and the pursuit of personal excellence, even in difficult times. As for number 6, the amount of money you have. Stoic philosophy makes us rethink the value of financial status. In a world where money and material success are often valued, Stoics such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus teach that virtue, wisdom, and contentment are more important than visible wealth. They believe that someone's character and their pursuit of a good life are more significant than their material possessions when it comes to true wealth. So it's best to keep the details of our finances secret, whether we're rich, in debt, or somewhere in between. This approach promotes humility, avoids unnecessary comparisons, and keeps us focused on what really matters, growing as a person and living ethically. According to Stoic philosophy, we should focus on what we can control, such as our character, actions, and how we face life's challenges. Keeping our finances private is in line with this principle of living simply and appreciating what we have. This encourages the practice of keeping financial matters private. We learn to be grateful for what we have, regardless of how we compare to others. This mentality promotes a simple life where happiness is not linked to money, but to the quality of our relationships, the search for wisdom, and the practice of virtue. Following the Stoic advice of keeping financial information confidential also ensures that interactions are not marred by assumptions or bias. This allows relationships to deepen based on mutual respect, understanding, and shared values. Many people today are obsessed with getting what they want. This approach reminds us of the Stoic belief that a person's worth is not in their money, but in their character and virtues. By prioritizing privacy over our money, we embrace a lifestyle that values personal growth, contributes to the well-being of others, and seeks wisdom. This reflects the Stoic idea that true wealth lies in the quality of our lives and relationships, not the quantity of possessions we possess. In Stoic philosophy, which is known for emphasizing reason, emotional resilience, and the pursuit of virtue, dealing with personal grievances and anger represents a crucial point of self-mastery and spiritual growth. Thinkers such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus taught that negative emotions such as anger can be counterproductive if not properly controlled. They remind us that it is our reaction to external events, not the events themselves, that can cause us harm. In this context, constantly expressing grievances and harboring anger is seen as something that does not align with Stoic principles of self-control and inner serenity. The Stoics advise that these personal issues should be dealt with internally, as discussing them in public can exacerbate the situation and take the focus away from our own personal development journey. Keeping our complaints and anger to ourselves does not mean repressing our emotions, but rather finding constructive ways to deal with them. By focusing on what we can control, our own attitudes and responses, we are able to cultivate a state of balance and inner peace. This encourages us to reflect deeply on the challenges we face, seek internal solutions, and practice forgiveness, even in the face of adversity. By choosing not to verbalize all the injustices we perceive we have suffered, we are choosing to regain control over our emotions and resist the domination of external events over our inner peace. This process of introspection and self-mastery contributes significantly to the development of our emotional maturity and the construction of a solid character capable of facing the ups and downs of life with serenity. The Stoics' teachings about how our actions speak louder than words resonate throughout history, reminding us that our virtues are not shown by promises, but by the things we actually do. It's as if we are painting the story of our lives using the colors of our daily choices and noble actions. Imagine yourself as a sculptor, molding a marble statue. Every decision we make, every step we take, is like a chisel blow to the rough stone of our existence, shaping our character and our destiny. The Stoics remind us that if we want to develop the virtues we admire, we must act on these principles rather than just talk about them. By controlling our complaints and taming our anger, we are practicing the art of resilience and silent forgiveness. Instead of letting our emotions control us, we choose to remain calm and seek peaceful solutions to our internal conflicts. This way of life not only benefits our mental health, but also encourages those around us to think about their own reactions and adopt a calmer approach to difficulties. The Stoic advice to bottle up our complaints does not mean repressing our emotions, but rather directing them in a positive way. Instead of harboring resentment or prolonging unnecessary conflict, we are challenged to resolve our internal issues independently and cultivate a personal growth mindset. This guides us to a life of peace and satisfaction, where we prioritize our own development rather than getting bogged down in insignificant disagreements. By following the Stoic principle of cultivating inner strength and understanding our emotions, we discover a path to living in harmony with others and ourselves. By practicing forgiveness and developing the ability to let go of negative thoughts, we find the courage to face life's challenges calmly and wisely. This process encourages us to reflect on our own issues, without letting ourselves be dominated by external expectations. As we apply Stoic teachings to our daily lives, we choose to keep our thoughts, feelings, and personal boundaries private. This does not mean hiding who we are, but rather protecting the most precious parts of ourselves that help us grow, learn, and face difficulties with dignity. The true essence of privacy lies in nurturing an inner space where we can cultivate tranquility and peace, away from the incessant demands of a busy world. The 7 pillars offer us a framework to build that inner refuge where we can cultivate positive things and find inner peace. In turbulent moments in life, it is important to remember that true happiness is not found in material goods, external achievements, or the expectations of others. We find true happiness when we are at peace with ourselves, when we cultivate meaningful relationships, and when we seek ongoing personal growth. By embracing these principles and committing to them, we are choosing a path of authenticity and emotional well-being. Thus, we can live according to our deepest values and build a meaningful life, regardless of the external circumstances that may arise. It's all inside you, waiting to be used. This is not just an idea, it is based on the wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that has helped many people find meaning, peace, and joy in their lives over the years. Stoicism teaches that the key to a happy life is not in receiving praise or having many things, but in valuing things like self-control, courage, wisdom, and justice. He reminds us that despite the problems outside, we have within us what we need to be happy and healthy. We are freeing ourselves from social pressures and self-doubt to discover the enduring principles of Stoicism that can change the way we see the world and ourselves. This journey is not just about becoming better, it's also about rediscovering our true worth and learning to live according to what we believe. If you want to find personal freedom, inner strength, and success, you've come to the right place. Sign here, accepting less than we deserve. We've all done this at some point, haven't we? Sometimes we settle and compromise, whether it's staying in a job that leaves us exhausted, staying in relationships that don't make us happy, or not pursuing our dreams out of fear. We think it's the best we can get. But why do we do this? Is it out of concern? Is it because of ease? Maybe it's a little of both. Stoicism teaches that external things like these do not change our true worth, who we really are. Whether we are in a palace or a prison, Stoicism says that what makes us unique is not where we are, but how we react to it. This means realizing that we may not be able to control everything in our lives, but we have complete control over how we think, feel, and act. When we accept less than we deserve, aren't we giving other people and things more power than ourselves? Stoicism encourages us to question this idea. It makes us ask, is this situation in line with my values? Am I reacting to this in a way that shows my true worth? If the answer is no, that doesn't leave us without hope. No, it gives us power. He tells us, See, you have the power to change your perspective, to choose your response, and in doing so to change your reality. In a world where we are often judged by what we have or the situations we face, it's easy to forget who we really are. But Stoic teachings remind us of something very important. Our value goes beyond appearances or the challenges we encounter. Imagine yourself as a strong anchor in a rough sea. Your true strength is not just on the surface, but in the depths of your being, where your values, integrity, and authenticity lie. These are the foundations that support who you are, regardless of life's changes. When we face challenges or moments of self-criticism, it's crucial to remember that our worth is not determined by our mistakes or others' opinions of us. It's about how we stay true to our principles, even when we face difficulties. It's not about striving for perfection or avoiding making mistakes, but about accepting our imperfections with kindness and learning from them. Instead of blaming ourselves for our struggles, we should equip ourselves with the determination to deal with what we can control and accept what we cannot change. Our self-esteem does not come from external achievements, but from confidence in our ability to act with courage, wisdom, and integrity no matter what. It is this inner strength that allows us to not just survive, but thrive, even in the face of the toughest challenges. Just like the Stoics, we can learn to live authentically and with integrity, defending our values and facing life with resilience and determination. When we internalize these principles, we find our true purpose and discover an inexhaustible source of inner strength and happiness. But there is something to consider. If you've been struggling to find your purpose for a long time and can't seem to find it at all, perhaps there are other reasons you haven't discovered yet. One of these reasons could be anxiety. Anxiety resembles a silent snake that poisons us without us realizing it, affecting us for days, months, and even years. Living with anxiety is like living with illness. However, the Stoics, along with modern psychology, offer an antidote to this just as they helped me. I recorded a video showing how you can get rid of this poison in your life. You can find it in the first comment. Click on the link in the first comment and free yourself from this poison of anxiety. Second point, minimize your achievements. Why? Because recognizing our achievements is not just a way to feel good, it is also a way to value the effort, dedication, and perseverance that got us there. When we think about fulfilling the promises we made to ourselves to follow our goals and principles, we see that the qualities of Stoicism such as moderation, courage, wisdom, and justice play a crucial role. In Stoicism, these virtues are fundamental to achieving both large and small goals. For example, it may have taken courage to apply for a new job, wisdom to deal with challenges that arose, or self-discipline to organize your closet more efficiently. When we minimize our achievements by attributing luck or saying that anyone could have done the same, we are not just underestimating the end result. We are also ignoring the good habits and qualities we have cultivated along the way. So how can we change this mindset? Instead of diminishing our own successes, we can start to recognize and celebrate our achievements in a realistic way. This does not mean boasting or boasting, but rather recognizing the effort and skill we put into achieving our goals. We can begin to internalize our accomplishments, reminding ourselves that each small step toward progress is meaningful and worthy of recognition. Furthermore, it is important to learn from our successes, identifying which skills and virtues were essential to achieving them. In doing so, we strengthen our sense of self-esteem and confidence, while motivating ourselves to continue growing and improving. Thus, instead of minimizing our achievements, we can transform them into sources of inspiration and motivation to face new challenges with determination and focus. How can we learn to feel good about what we achieve without becoming conceited? Being balanced and honest is important to the Stoics' way of thinking. You must say to yourself, yes, I strived for this. Yes, I faced challenges and I overcame them. And yes, this achievement reflects my effort and my virtues. Do it not to feed your ego, but because it's the right thing to do. All right, now think of something new you can do. It doesn't matter if it's something big or small. Think about the positive things you did to achieve it. Maybe he was too disciplined. Maybe you were brave and went out of your comfort zone to solve a problem. Perhaps he used his wisdom. Regardless of the outcome, take a moment to recognize it and the good things that led up to it. There is no point in bragging during this exercise. Rather, it is to help you see the truth about your character and striving. Adopting this Stoic practice can change how we view our own successes and how we perceive ourselves. It helps us stop being falsely modest and start truly valuing our strengths and abilities. When we recognize our achievements, it's not about feeding our ego, but about the good qualities we demonstrate and the hard work we put in. Sign 3, putting other people's needs ahead of your own. This happens a lot, right? Sometimes it seems really nice, generous, and even heroic to help others, like staying late at work to help a colleague, missing your morning run to make breakfast for the family, or putting your own dreams aside to help someone else's. But there's a problem with that. If you always put other people's needs before your own, you can become tired, irritable, and even lose who you really are. It's like trying to fill glasses from an empty pitcher. Eventually you burn out. Stoicism teaches us that it's not about being selfish in taking care of ourselves. In fact, it is essential for us to take good care of others. Stoic philosophy helps us distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. We can control our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and this includes taking care of our own physical and emotional health. By taking care of ourselves, we are investing in our ability to be good to others in sustainable and meaningful ways. This does not mean we should abandon generosity or support for others. On the contrary, Stoicism reminds us of the importance of helping others wisely, balancing their needs with our own. When we are balanced and well cared for, we are better able to offer genuine and effective support to those around us. Therefore, taking care of yourself is not a selfish luxury, but rather an act of responsibility and wisdom. In doing so, we strengthen not only our own health and well-being, but also our relationships and our ability to contribute positively to the world around us. No matter how much we want to, we cannot directly change other people's health and happiness, but we can decide how much we will help, support, and love the people around us. And that starts by taking care of ourselves. How much more calm, understanding, and present can we be to people when we are rested, healthy, and peaceful? How can we further help their health and happiness? Mental and emotional health is just as important as physical health. This means having the inner strength to care about others, offer good advice, and be a support to them. But how can we balance this? How can we help others without forgetting our own needs? First, we need to understand that taking care of ourselves is crucial. Taking care of yourself is like charging your cell phone. It's essential to ensure you have enough energy to face your day-to-day and be available to others. It's not just about doing things that give you pleasure, but also about setting healthy limits and prioritizing your emotional and physical well-being. Think of yourself as a car that needs fuel regularly to keep running. If you don't fuel yourself, you will eventually run out of energy and be unable to help others. Likewise, taking time to care for yourself is not selfish, but rather a smart move to ensure you are in the best shape possible to offer support when needed. This can mean different things to different people. For some, it might be doing daily exercise to release stress and stay healthy. For others, it might be taking a few minutes each morning to meditate and calm the mind. Or it could be something as simple as reading a book you like, or spending some time in silence just to recharge. Regardless of what you choose, remember that taking care of yourself is not a luxury, but a necessity. When you feel good about yourself, you are in a better position to offer support and help to others. So take time this week to think about how you can take better care of yourself, and remember that this is not only for your own benefit, but also for those you love and care about. Sign 4. It's hard for you to accept compliments. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to look at ourselves with an open mind. This means being honest about our weaknesses and strengths. We should not think of ourselves selfishly, but in a fair and balanced way. Why do we find it difficult to receive compliments? Often it's because we have a distorted view of ourselves. Maybe we're thinking too much about our flaws, or maybe we've been taught that admitting our strengths makes us arrogant. But think about it in a Stoic way. Being humble isn't about denying our strengths, it's to recognize them in a grounded and realistic way. It's about seeing ourselves as we really are, without ego or insecurity getting in the way. Stoicism teaches us that recognizing our strengths and achievements does not make us less valuable. Accepting compliments with gratitude helps us to be more aware of ourselves and goals. It makes us see the good qualities we have and the work we do, which helps us understand who we really are. When someone compliments us, they are usually recognizing something real and admirable in us. Furthermore, accepting compliments helps us strengthen our self-confidence and self-esteem. This does not mean that we should become conceited or arrogant. Rather, it is about recognizing and valuing the positive qualities that contribute to who we are. By practicing accepting compliments, we are also making room for continued personal growth. When we are able to receive positive feedback in a constructive way, we can use this information to motivate ourselves and continue improving. Therefore, being able to accept compliments with gratitude and humility is a valuable skill that helps us see ourselves in a more complete and positive light. It connects us to our virtues and accomplishments in a way that promotes self-awareness and authenticity in our interactions with others and ourselves. Ignoring these moments means missing the chance to see how others see us and understand how we influence the world around us. How can we get better at accepting compliments? Changing our way of thinking is the first step. We can think of praise as a mirror that shows our qualities and efforts. Instead of avoiding the truth, we can take a moment to think about what was said. We can practice simply saying thank you. We must not belittle or avoid praise. We must express gratitude for the recognition of our work and qualities. Furthermore, Stoicism advises us to use these moments to reflect. We can ask ourselves, what did I do to deserve this praise? How does this show my virtues and my hard work? It's not about bragging, it's recognizing the part of us that can achieve great things and make a difference. Fifth sign, not being able to decide. Have you ever found yourself faced with a choice that seemed easy, but you were paralyzed, unable to decide? This goes beyond not knowing what to choose. The fear of making the wrong choice reflects a deeper issue, a lack of confidence in oneself. It's like standing on the edge of a diving board looking down into the pool. We know we need to jump, but we can't. In the midst of this uncertainty, Stoicism offers us some light. He teaches us that making decisions wisely and reasonably is more important than being certain about the outcome. Stoicism reminds us that we control the decision-making process, but not the outcome. This means choosing based on our values, being honest, and accepting that the results, whatever they may be, are part of life. Why are we afraid to decide? It's usually because we fear making the wrong decision, which could result in failure or mistakes. But Stoicism asks us to rethink our concepts of mistakes and failures. For Stoics, every outcome is an opportunity to learn and grow. There are no failures, only lessons. It encourages us to trust ourselves and make choices with courage and conviction, knowing that each outcome will help us grow and learn. But how do we develop this trust? How do we improve our ability to decide? The first step is to value wisdom and reason. Take time to reflect on your choice before deciding. When making a choice, ask yourself, does this decision align with my values? Am I being integrity? By basing your choices on your values and reason, you can be sure you are deciding with the best intentions and knowledge you have. Stoicism tells us to accept the results of our choices and learn from them. Each result brings a lesson, even if it is not what you want. This encourages us to reflect on what went right and what went wrong, and how we can use these experiences in the future. Confidence in yourself is built through this process of reflection and learning. This gives us the security to face life's challenges, make choices aligned with our values, and learn from each experience. Sixth sign, criticizing yourself too much. Stoicism teaches us about making smart choices, especially about how we use our minds. He says that criticizing ourselves for every mistake we think we've made is like trying to drive a car without paying attention to the road. We are focused on the wrong things. According to Stoic wisdom, we must understand that perfection is something we will never achieve. Instead, we should aim for progress, steady, conscious steps that help us become better people. Why do we get stuck in the habit of being overly critical of ourselves? Most of the time, it's because we hold ourselves to impossible standards, ones we would never impose on someone else. Imagine yourself as a gardener who inspects every plant in his garden, not to appreciate its beauty, but just to find minute defects in every leaf and petal. By doing this, you may be ignoring healthy flower growth or ripening fruit. Likewise, by criticizing ourselves too much, we can lose sight of our own progress and achievements. The Stoics teach us to take a more compassionate approach towards ourselves. This means recognizing our failures, learning from them, and continuing to move forward. Instead of punishing ourselves for every mistake or perceived imperfection, we can focus on cultivating a growth mindset. This involves celebrating our successes, even the small ones, and learning from our challenges without being overly hard on ourselves. By practicing self-acceptance and self-compassion, we not only foster a more positive internal environment, but we also strengthen our emotional and mental resilience. This allows us to face adversity with a constructive attitude, learning and growing from each experience. Therefore, instead of getting lost in self-recrimination, we can focus on nurturing a healthy and positive relationship with ourselves, cultivating a path of personal development based on wisdom and acceptance, forgetting that it is normal for people to have flaws, to make mistakes, and, most importantly, to be able to learn and grow from them is something we can avoid. Stoicism offers a solution to this intense self-criticism, self-compassion, and the desire to progress rather than strive for perfection. From a Stoic perspective, self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that we would give a good friend. It means understanding that setbacks are part of life and do not define who we are. The Stoic way to deal with failure is not to blame yourself, but to ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? To adopt this mindset, we need to change our perspective on our journey. We are making progress at every step, even if the results are not exactly what we expected. Our focus will be progress, not perfection. This doesn't mean we should stop trying to improve or that we should settle. Rather, it means we must strive to improve while at the same time understanding that growth doesn't always follow a straight line, is full of challenges, and is wonderfully imperfect. Comparing ourselves to others is something we all do, often without realizing it. It's like we're in a constant race, always trying to reach the next milestone or surpass someone. But why do we do this? Some of this is rooted in our human nature. Since ancient times, people have always looked to benchmarks to assess their own worth and success in comparison to others around them. However, with the rise of social media, this trend has reached new heights. Now we are bombarded with carefully selected images that show other people's perfect lives. It's as if we are looking at an endless photo album filled only with the best moments of other people's lives. This can make us feel like we're falling behind, or that our own accomplishments aren't all that impressive. This is where Stoicism comes in. This ancient philosophy teaches us to look within ourselves rather than outside. Instead of focusing on the achievements of others, we are encouraged to reflect on our own journey. Stoicism reminds us that each of us is on a unique journey, with our own experiences, challenges, and triumphs. Instead of comparing, we should be inspired by the achievements of others and use them as a drive to pursue our own growth and progress. This does not mean that we should isolate ourselves or become indifferent to others. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches us to cultivate a sense of gratitude for our own experiences and to value the progress we make on our own journey. When we look inward rather than outward, we discover an inexhaustible source of strength and inspiration that propels us toward a more meaningful and fulfilling life. He teaches us how we can appreciate the good things others have without diminishing the value of our own achievements. To avoid falling into the comparison trap, how can Stoic principles be applied? First, it's important to be aware and notice when we start comparing our lives to those of others. We must remember that what we see on social media does not always reflect reality. Secondly, Stoicism shows us how crucial it is to focus on what we can control, such as our actions, our thoughts, and our good qualities. These are the things we can cultivate to create a meaningful life without relying on external approval or comparison. Gratitude is one of those virtues that, although it may seem simple, has incredible transformative power in our lives. When we are genuinely grateful for our own experiences, both positive and negative, something magical happens. Suddenly we begin to see the world with new eyes, appreciating the little things that previously went unnoticed. This shift in perspective does not make us complacent, but rather pushes us to seek growth and improvement in a much more authentic way. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that gratitude is only for happy moments or great achievements. However, the true power of gratitude lies in the ability to find beauty and meaning in even the most difficult times. When we face challenges or adversity, gratitude helps us find light at the end of the tunnel, reminding us that each obstacle is an opportunity for growth and learning. Furthermore, gratitude helps us live more fully in the present moment. Instead of being stuck in the past or worried about the future, we learn to value the here and now. This doesn't mean we should stop dreaming or planning for the future, but rather that we can find joy and satisfaction in the present, regardless of the circumstances. Stoicism, with its deep and practical philosophy, reminds us of the importance of gratitude in our journey of self-development. He challenges us to see the pursuit of personal growth not as a chore, but as a celebration of our own humanity. When we cultivate gratitude for who we are and what we have, we discover an inexhaustible source of strength, courage, and happiness that propels us towards a fuller and more meaningful life. Let's see how we can start investing in ourselves differently. Stoic philosophy teaches us that changing the way we think is the first step. We must start to see personal improvement as something very important in our lives. It doesn't mean making big changes all at once. It means investing in ourselves little by little over time. A simple way to do this is to read about something we enjoy, meditate for a few minutes every day, or take up a hobby that brings us joy. Reflecting on ourselves and examining who we are is another lesson we learn from Stoicism. This helps us understand our strengths and weaknesses, which guides our self-development efforts. It gives us purpose by regularly reviewing our lives, setting goals, and evaluating our progress. It is important to act in accordance with our values, cultivate our good qualities, and live with purpose and meaning. Accepting that we are always learning is another important part. According to the Stoics, wisdom is not a destination, but a journey. Being open to learning new things can change our perspective on self-development. It is not just a task, but an adventure, an opportunity to explore all that life has to offer in terms of knowledge and experience. Living according to our values and principles is the key to feeling truly fulfilled. The Stoics believed that our actions and responses were the only things we could control. Marcus Aurelius beautifully reminded us that what disturbs us is not other people's opinions, but how we react to those opinions. Why do we seek approval from others? It's usually because we feel insecure and fear we're not good enough in a world that constantly pressures us to be something we might not be. It's easy to lose your way. Stoicism teaches us to look within ourselves and work to improve our character, reminding us that true happiness and peace come from being at peace with who we are. So how can we free ourselves from the desire for external approval? The first step is to develop self-awareness. The journey of self-discovery often leads us to discover an uncomfortable truth, our constant search for external approval. It's as if we are in an eternal competition in search of praise and recognition, often forgetting who we really are and what we really value. That's where Stoicism comes in, offering us a mirror to reflect on our true intentions and motivations. As we adopt a Stoic approach to life, we begin to question every action, every choice in search of an honest answer. Are we doing this for ourselves or to please others? Stoicism invites us to become guardians of our own intentions, ensuring that our actions are aligned with our deepest values, not just the desire to be accepted or admired by others. This journey towards self-sufficiency does not take us away from people. On the contrary, it makes us more authentic in our relationships. When we recognize our own fullness and intrinsic value, we no longer need to seek external validation. We are able to establish more genuine connections based on true understanding and mutual acceptance. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic masters, reminds us of the importance of focusing on what is within our control. Instead of seeking to please others, we should direct our energy toward cultivating our own happiness and inner well-being. The true measure of success, according to Stoicism, is not in the accolades or awards we receive, but rather in how we live our lives in harmony with our deepest values. The pursuit of virtue, the cultivation of reason, and the ability to face life's challenges with resilience are the true hallmarks of a life well lived, according to Stoic teachings. When dealing with difficult situations, It is important to understand why we sometimes put up with bad things. It's usually because we think we can't change. Maybe we're afraid of what might happen, we cling to what we know, or we question our own worth. Stoicism challenges these fears and uncertainties, showing us how valuable we are and how much we can control our actions and thoughts. He encourages us to question the idea that we are stuck and to understand that we often have the power to change our situations or the way we view them. Stoicism provides us with tools to overcome and transform difficult situations. Developing resilience and autonomy is essential in this process. It's not about being indifferent. On the contrary, Marco Aurelio suggests that we strengthen our inner strength to remain firm and faithful to our values even when things are difficult. Having a strong inner core makes us less vulnerable to adversity and helps us make decisions that promote our health. The concept of living in harmony with nature, another Stoic principle, can help us with this. This involves seeking balance in our lives and the world around us, creating or seeking out environments that help us grow, be healthy and happy. Living in harmony with nature is not just limited to the natural environment, but also extends to our inner world and the relationships we cultivate. It means recognizing our dignity and worth as individuals and actively seeking conditions that promote our emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. This may involve setting healthy boundaries in our relationships, seeking new opportunities that challenge us positively, and choosing companies that support and encourage us. In practice, this means dedicating time to taking care of ourselves, whether through meditation to calm the mind, recording our thoughts and feelings through writing, or practicing hobbies that bring us joy and personal satisfaction. These activities are not just hobbies, they are concrete ways to invest in our own emotional well-being and personal development. Why does fear affect us so much? Often it's because we fear losing something significant or failing in our aspirations. By acknowledging these fears, Stoicism encourages us to change our perspective. Instead of focusing only on what we stand to lose, we are encouraged to consider the opportunities for growth, happiness, and personal fulfillment that can arise from facing our fears. Stoicism teaches us that pursuing virtue and doing our best in every situation is a worthy goal in itself, regardless of the end result. By focusing on developing our character and acting with integrity, we are aligning our actions with our deepest values. This empowers us to live with authenticity and purpose, facing life's challenges with courage and determination. Many of us face the fear of pursuing our dreams. The idea of chasing something so important and challenging can make us uncomfortable and anxious. However, the Stoics show us how to deal with this fear through negative visualization. Visualizing worst-case scenarios may seem strange, but it is a powerful practice to lessen the control that fear has over us. When we face our fears head-on and realistically consider the possible difficulties that may arise, we realize that these situations are often not as scary as we initially imagined. We accept that failure can happen, but we also understand that it is part of the growth process. This balanced way of thinking helps us move forward with our dreams, knowing that we have the ability to overcome any challenges that arise. Furthermore, the Stoic concept of amor fati offers us a transformative perspective. Instead of just passively accepting what happens in our lives, amor fati encourages us to embrace all the experiences that life brings us, whether they are good or bad. By adopting this mindset, we free ourselves from the fear and resistance that prevent us from pursuing our dreams. We recognize that the path to success has its ups and downs, and each challenge offers us an opportunity to grow and learn. Therefore, by following our dreams with amor fati and practicing negative visualization in a balanced way, we empower ourselves to act with courage and determination, aligning our actions with our unique values and abilities. It is very important to remember that our worth does not just come from the things we do, but from how we live and strive to achieve our goals with honesty, courage, and integrity. The fear of chasing our dreams not only stops us from achieving success, but also from living a true life. Why do we sometimes forget this lesson of Stoicism? One reason is that we naturally want to feel important and connect with others. However, if we seek our value in the opinions of others or in the successes we have achieved, we are going down the wrong path. Stoicism teaches us that true value comes from living in accordance with our virtues and our nature. Epicurus taught us that true freedom is not in getting what we want, but in freeing ourselves from the desire to want. This has a huge impact on how we perceive our value. True happiness does not come from the approval of others, but from recognizing and accepting our own worth. Stoicism encourages us to focus on improving our character rather than always seeking external approval. Our value is not in the titles, money, or accolades we receive, but in our commitment to living a virtuous life, acting with honesty, kindness, and courage. Not that achievements and praise are not important. Yes, they are. However, they are not what determine our value. Our value is something internal and unchanging, like the stars in the sky. Recognizing this frees us from the constant need to seek external approval. How can we cultivate this peaceful feeling about our own worth? Through reflection, looking inside ourselves to recognize and appreciate our qualities, efforts, and ability to overcome. Recognize that our skills, character, and potential are the real measures of our worth. Practicing gratitude for them is a big part of this. This also means learning to separate our sense of worth from other people's changing opinions and the short-term nature of achievements. This distance is not a sign of indifference. It's a way of looking at things and figuring out what's important in the bigger picture of our lives. Stoicism tells us to discard false ideas about happiness and realize that it is not a reward, but rather a way of living. He encourages us to reflect on our values, ensure our actions are aligned with those values, and find joy in the pursuit of virtue and the use of reason. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, and let go of what we cannot control. This enables us to deal with the idea that we do not deserve happiness and to practice reason. This perspective gives us the power to create our own happiness through the choices and actions we take every day. How can we take this serious approach to happiness? It starts by changing the story we tell ourselves about deserving. We need to combat the idea that being happy depends on achievements, approval from others, or perfection. Believing that happiness comes from being good, making the best decisions possible, and appreciating the present moment is a better way of understanding this. Stoicism also highlights the importance of gratitude. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we have, from what we think is not enough for abundance in our lives. This change in perspective is fundamental to feeling worthy of happiness, as it allows us to see the good things, opportunities, and potential in our everyday lives. Stoicism reminds us of the importance of friends and family. Finding happiness is not a lonely journey. As we build meaningful relationships and support each other, we recognize that our value for happiness is strengthened not only by ourselves, but also by the love and wisdom of those around us. Now it's time to deeply explore the human mind and unravel the knots that prevent us from being mentally strong. Let us face these shadows based on the ancient art of Stoicism and emerge as architects of our own strength. In the complex labyrinth of our thoughts, we often find ourselves lost in the illusion that we are the masters of the universe, with the power to control the events around us. It's as if we are trapped in a world of dancing shadows, where the idea of control lures us into a false sense of omnipotence. However, it is through Stoic philosophy, with Epicurus as our wise guide, that we discover the truth hidden in the depths of our minds. Epicurus, with his voice that echoes through the ages, reminds us of a fundamental and comforting truth. Although we cannot change external events, we always have the power to choose how we respond to them. This statement resonates like a soft light, shining amidst the darkness of our distorted perceptions. The essence of Stoic wisdom lies precisely in recognizing the impossibility of controlling the external world, a constantly changing scenario that escapes our understanding. Instead, we find true strength in the ability to control our own reactions to life's uncertainties. So rather than desperately clinging to the desire to control events around us, we find true resilience by consciously shaping our responses to the unpredictable complexities of fate. It is in this understanding that we discover the freedom to choose our own narrative in the midst of apparent chaos, and therein lies the true essence of inner fortitude. In the revelation of this understanding, we discover where our power truly lies. Rather than trying to fight the uncontrollable forces that shape the world around us, we find unshakable fortitude in taking charge of our inner world. Faced with the storms that plague our path, it is the Stoic teaching that guides us beyond them. We learn that although we cannot control external turmoil, we have complete control over our own reactions to it. Just as a skilled sculptor shapes a piece of rough marble into a magnificent work of art, we use the chisel of our reactions to carve meaning from the circumstances around us. It is at this moment that we embrace Epicurus's philosophy. Instead of trying to modify the external world to suit our wishes, we direct our energy to control our own responses. In this process, we uncover a previously unknown source of power, resilience, and potential. The Stoic journey is not a futile battle against uncontrollable forces, but rather an inner quest for self-mastery. In a world filled with uncertainty, Stoicism shines like a lantern, illuminating the path to self-mastery. Even as shadows linger around us, by accepting this Stoic revelation, we free ourselves from the seductive illusion of external control. We discover that we truly are the architects of our own lives, not by subjugating the world, but by shaping our responses with the immortal wisdom contained in Epicurus's words. In the ancient classrooms of Stoic wisdom, when the subject was the fear of what we cannot avoid, Seneca said something very wise. "Whoever is afraid of death will never do anything worthy of someone who is truly alive." These words, like a magic potion from the past, echo through time, revealing a truth that goes beyond this world. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, encourages us to face the constant specter of death with a courage that goes beyond just existing. His wisdom challenges us to free our souls from the grip of fear. This means we are encouraged to embrace the inevitability of our own death, turning our fear into a flame that lights a life fuller than ever before. Being afraid of death is like living in darkness, trapped by the fear that prevents us from truly living. Seneca, like an experienced guide, helps us out of this darkness. He tells us to view death not as something terrible that is coming, but as a constant companion that gives our lives more meaning. When we accept that life is short, we free ourselves from the weight of the inevitable. The thought of death, which used to frighten us, becomes something that silently inspires us, motivating us to embrace each moment with a deep love for life. The surprising truth that accepting death allows us to live fully is a wise teaching from Seneca. The Stoics' call to overcome fear of the unknown is an invitation to explore a world full of possibilities. It's understanding that we can achieve great things when we face our own mortality. When we leave the fear of death aside, we can build a life that is not limited by the future that scares us. Seneca's words are not just complicated thoughts. They have the power to change how we see the world. They encourage us to cultivate our inner strength to navigate life's ups and downs. When we recognize that we will die one day, we not only face the truth that one day we will no longer be here, but we also discover skills within ourselves that help us leave a lasting legacy. By accepting the challenge of facing the fear of death, we open the doors to a life enlightened by the awareness that we are alive in this world. Seneca's wisdom is like a light that guides us to find our inner strength and follow a path that is connected to what is essential in human life. Accepting that life is brief helps us discover the real power of living intensely without worrying about what will happen in the future. Seeking approval from others casts shadows that obscure our true selves with the fear of insecurity. Marcus Aurelius's words are timeless, offering a vision that spans time. It's not that we have little time to live, but we waste a lot of it. This idea is very important because it helps us understand that we often waste time trying to be important to others. The constant search for external approval makes us feel weak inside, undermining our self-esteem. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that true strength lies in knowing ourselves well, not in receiving passing praise from the outside world. Seeking approval from other people is like giving up control over who we really are to be accepted by them. When we try to be what others expect of us, we lose our true essence and the shadows become denser. Marco Aurelio asks us to free ourselves from this prison that we ourselves have created and look inside ourselves. True strength lies in being authentic, not in trying to receive praise that doesn't last. When we recognize our own worth, we are fueling a fire within us that shapes who we truly are. Applause from other people is momentary, but internal validation is lasting. When we turn inward, We find a light that guides us even when others' opinions change. Having this inner strength is like having a shield that protects us from the shadows of weakness, giving us the ability to stand firm when people judge us. In the wise words of Marcus Aurelius, we are encouraged to take back control of our time from those who are always looking for approval. When we understand the value of every moment, we stop wasting our time trying to be accepted by other people. Therefore, we must invest in the importance of accepting who we really are, building strength that helps us overcome temporary praise from other people. By following this philosophy, the shadows of our insecurity dissipate, and the light of accepting ourselves illuminates the path. Within our own hearts, we find a strength that lasts forever, no matter what others think. So let us listen to the call to look within ourselves, because it is in accepting who we are that we find the true power of living an authentic life. May we be the masters of our own lives, guiding ourselves with the tranquility of accepting ourselves as our guide. When we allow ourselves to be carried away by the whispers of desire in the complex labyrinth of our wills, we embark on an uncertain journey where the seductive lures of uncontrolled desire can easily drown out the voice of reason. Yet the Stoic way, a source of wisdom in this tangle, urges us to ignore these whispers that divert us from our true path. Epicurus, an ancient Stoic philosopher, once said, "We are not disturbed by the events of life, but by our judgments about them." This maxim resonates deeply with the Stoic teaching that it is our interpretations of events that affect us, not the events themselves. The Stoics warn us that desire, with its enveloping seduction, can become the labyrinth that traps those who are not vigilant. However, mastering desire is not about suppressing the inner flame, but rather directing it with purpose. It means discerning between fleeting desires that offer fleeting pleasures and lasting goals that reflect our true essence. On this path, we learn to distinguish between the temporary shadows of desire and the everlasting light of personal fulfillment. Therefore, to navigate this maze of life wisely, it is crucial to cultivate self-control and mental clarity. In doing so, we strengthen our ability to resist momentary temptations that can distract us from what is really important to us in the long term. Rather than being prisoners of our fleeting desires, we deliberately choose to focus on goals that promote our personal growth and lasting well-being. This is the heart of Stoic philosophy, finding true inner freedom by learning to be masters of our own desires rather than their slaves. In the burning heat of self-discipline, the chains of uncontrollable desire, forged in the fire of insatiable craving, become an oppressive weight on the human spirit. Inspired by Epicurus and the Stoic sages, we are guided to free ourselves from these chains by moderating the intensity of our desires. In this newfound freedom, we do not find solitude, but rather a space where the true self can emerge, free from the shackles of compulsive desire. The journey along the Stoic path becomes an inner search where desires stop dominating us and become obedient servants. By embarking on this transformative journey, we release the weight of selfish demands and navigate the maze of life with renewed grace and purpose. Answering the Stoic call to master our desires, we discover an essential truth. We have the power to shape our own history. The events unfolding around us are no longer chains that bind us, but rather valuable opportunities for growth and self-knowledge. Epicurus, with his timeless wisdom, reminds us that suffering is not simply a consequence of external events, but rather a reaction shaped by our interpretations. Thus, by embracing self-discipline and reducing the influence of unbridled desires, we pave the way for a fuller and more conscious life. We find a balance where contentment is no longer dictated by fleeting desires, but by the fulfillment of a deeper, more meaningful purpose. The Stoic mind finds tranquility in the silence that follows stirring desires. Once a confusing labyrinth, the labyrinth of desire becomes a place of clarity. Taking control of our desires is where the stone path reveals its power for change. This power frees us from the traps of the labyrinth and allows us to move forward with purpose, resilience, and a strong commitment to our soul's deepest desires. On the vast canvas of the universe, there are things that try to block the flow of change, but change is always present, shaping the fabric of the universe. Wise souls who are in tune with the rhythm of great change find comfort in the profound teachings of Heraclitus, who said, "Change is the only constant." These words hold an eternal truth, showing how everything is always changing. We must pay attention to change, for it is like an invisible conductor leading the symphony of life. The Stoics, who inherited ideas from Heraclitus, tell us to accept that things are always changing with an open mind. Resisting change is like fighting a strong river, where those who try to stop end up lost in the void. Following the wisdom of Heraclitus, the Stoics teach us not to fight this current, but to flow with it like a beautiful river of life. We find deep peace in this surrender, a refuge during difficult times. To move through these changes gracefully, letting them lead us to new experiences and understandings, we need to accept that change is natural. Resisting is not part of the nature of things. Instead, the Stoic soul chooses to accept and find harmony in the dance of life. When we surrender, we become skilled dancers who move in tune with the complex dance of change and find beauty in its flow. Life is like a river with twists and turns that take us through landscapes of joy, sadness, growth, and decline. Stoicism is like a compass that guides a person through the choppy waters of life, showing that true strength lies not in stubbornly resisting, but in calmly accepting constant change. On this journey, the Stoic soul learns that everything in life is temporary and fleeting. However, far from being something that makes us sad, this understanding helps us build a life full of meaning. Instead of being afraid of the changes that can bring emptiness, Stoics see in them a vast canvas, a chance to paint their own lives in a special way. Accepting life's twists and turns is not being passive, but empowering yourself. It is understanding that it is in movement and change that we grow, learn, and discover ourselves. Just like a flowing river, life is always in motion, and Stoics learn to flow along with it. While those who cling to the margins feel trapped, the Stoics glide gracefully through life's paths, finding peace and joy in the changes that are part of life. The philosopher Heraclitus teaches us that everything flows, remembering that change is the only constant thing in the universe. For Stoics, embracing this is not just acceptance, but also finding deep peace. It's like dancing to the rhythm of the stars in harmony with natural cycles. Because it is in the constant movement of waters, not in stagnation, that we find true beauty and comfort in life. If we don't pay attention to the power of now in the great symphony of life, the present moment becomes the most important note, full of opportunities for joy, fulfillment, and deep meaning. We often get stuck in the past or worried about the uncertain future. Even if we plan our lives well, Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, invites us to live the day, enjoying the present and understanding that true happiness lies in living in the moment without worrying about the future. The now, like a song that passes quickly, is where all the sensations, emotions, and chances come together to form something unique. But we often worry too much about what happened or what might happen. Maintaining Stoic calm, Seneca reminds us to set aside these worries and live in the present. Stoicism shows us the path to true happiness, a path that does not lead us into labyrinths of the future or shadows of the past, but invites us to live fully in the present. This isn't just about enjoying the sunny day, it is a philosophy of life that goes beyond time. When we surrender completely to the now, accepting each moment with gratitude and peace, we find an oasis of calm in the midst of a busy world. Worries about the future lose importance, regrets from the past disappear, and we are enveloped by a deep peace, like a calm river under the afternoon sun. Every moment becomes a valuable gift, a gift to be made the most of. We no longer worry about what hasn't happened yet, nor do we regret what has already happened. Instead, we find joy in the simplicity and beauty of now, appreciating every little thing we sometimes overlook. On this journey of self-discovery, we learn that true happiness is not a goal to be achieved in the distant future, but rather an ongoing journey of being present, of living fully, of finding meaning in every breath, in every heartbeat. When we embrace this philosophy of life, we free ourselves from the constraints of time and discover that true, lasting happiness is always within our reach, here and now. Seneca wrote advice that contains Stoic wisdom that tells us to develop a presence of mind that makes each moment more aware. He says that we can only be truly happy when we stop being imprisoned by time and stop longing for future rewards or dwelling on mistakes made in the past. Appreciating the present without worrying about what might happen in the future is reaching a state of conscious balance. That's when you know that everything changes and appreciate the beauty of the present moment. Seneca's advice to seize the day is like an invitation to enjoy the symphony of life, to enjoy the melody of each moment with a deep appreciation of how it fits into the orchestral masterpiece that is our life. Seneca's words become a guiding refrain that reminds us to pay attention to the present, appreciate the harmonies of the now, and understand that true happiness is a melody written in the key of conscious life, a melody that grows with each note we choose to hold and appreciate in the ever-changing score of our lives. When life presents its toughest challenges, the Stoic warrior remains calm within, letting the storms outside determine his or her own inner peace. He becomes a living example of resilience, someone who is not shaken by the chaos around him. The Stoic ethos, a call to action that transcends the search for illusory tranquility, finds expression in the words of Epicurus, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers. In circumstances we do not choose, he reminds us, we can always choose our response. We cannot dictate how life unfolds. She is a tapestry woven with unpredictable threads of happiness and sadness. The Stoic warrior, however, does not attempt to alter external events, but learns to control his own reactions. Epicurus teaches us that this power of choice over our responses is a deeply empowering idea, essential to Stoic resilience. Building castles in quicksand would be like seeking an illusory external tranquility as the world is constantly changing. Stoics, instead, turn their gaze inward as they understand that true and lasting peace does not depend on the random events of life. It is a fortress that rises in the depths of the soul, an inviolable refuge where the storms of the outside world cannot penetrate. Therefore, as the world revolves around us, the Stoic warrior remains steadfast in his inner fortitude, guided by the conviction that true peace is an inner achievement, a journey of self-discovery and equanimity that transcends the vicissitudes of life. The Stoic warrior is not someone who runs away from challenges or seeks illusory tranquility. On the contrary, he faces chaos head-on, aware that his inner strength is essential to face the obstacles that come his way. While we cannot control all the events around us, we can control how we choose to respond to them. It is this understanding that sets the Stoic warrior apart from others. Through the practice of self-reflection, the Stoic warrior becomes the architect of his or her own destiny. He faces challenges with courage and resilience, transforming each obstacle into an opportunity for personal growth. For him, cultivating inner peace does not mean ignoring the chaos that surrounds him, but rather finding a balance between the hustle and bustle of the outside world and the calm that resides within himself. Epicurus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us that the true warrior accepts the contradictions of life and maintains control over his reactions to what he cannot control. He understands that inner peace is not something that can only be achieved in moments of calm, but rather an attitude that remains firm even during the storms of life. It is this ability to choose serenity and resilience, even in the face of adversity, that defines the true Stoic warrior. Imagine your special place within you as a safe haven, a little place that sits at the center of who you are. It's where everything you've experienced shapes who you are. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great leaders of Stoicism, reminds us of the importance of this place when he says that, to be happy, we don't need much. Everything is within us in the way we think. These words invite us to strengthen this inner refuge, because that is where we find our true strength. This refuge, which is born within our soul, is the place where life's challenges help us grow. Marcus Aurelius, with his wisdom of Stoicism, shows us the way to this sacred place, a fortress within us that stands firm even when we face difficulties on the outside. This is where we discover our true courage, our ability to resist the strong winds that blow around us. Imagine this special place not as a building made of bricks and mortar, but as an invisible sanctuary built from our thoughts, beliefs, and how we see the world. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that strengthening this refuge means understanding the power that comes from within us, a power that comes from our mind. He reminds us that being truly happy does not depend on what happens outside, but on how we choose to face and react to things in life. This way, our inner refuge becomes a place where the flame of happiness shines bright, no matter what happens outside. It is a place where we learn that our inner peace does not depend on what happens outside of us, but on how we can find meaning and be content in each experience. Taking care of this little place within us is very important because it is there that we find our true strength. Marcus Aurelius sees the warrior of Stoicism as someone who protects his inner refuge rather than fighting the world outside. He reminds us that it is important to protect our thoughts, keeping the mind alert against external influences. For him, being truly rich is not having many things but controlling our thoughts. Stoicism teaches us to take care of our mind, transforming it into a fortress against the ups and downs of life. When we understand the power of our thoughts, we discover an inner freedom that helps us shape our own path in life. This understanding frees us from the external things that hold us back and strengthens our inner refuge, transforming it into a fortress that nothing can tear down. Following Marcus Aurelius's advice to explore our deepest thoughts is how to reinforce the foundations of this refuge, making it a place full of courage and strength. By tuning in to our innermost thoughts, we become the architects of our own lives, able to find peace even when things get difficult. This inner journey teaches us to find happiness in simple things, to be grateful for each moment, and to move forward with determination in the face of challenges. Protecting this inner refuge is very important because it is there that we find the key to a full and happy life, a treasure that nothing can take away from us. As we walk the roads of life, we realize that we are not the only ones responsible for the story that unfolds. We are all acting on a large cosmic stage, where each person plays their role in a drama that transcends time and space. The Stoic philosopher Epicurus reminds us we have 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen more than we speak. With this wisdom, we are invited to accept what we cannot control, to tune our senses to the harmony of the cosmos, and to flow with the movements of the universe. When we see ourselves as artists on this cosmic stage, we understand the grandeur of our lives. They are like stories shaped by destiny and the forces of the universe. Understanding that we do not have total control over our destiny is a liberating epiphany, which compels us to abandon the illusion of absolute control and embrace the mysteries that permeate our journey through the cosmos. Epicurus, renowned for his Stoic reflections, highlights the intrinsic harmony in our bodies. For example, the presence of 2 ears and only 1 mouth invites us to listen not only with our physical ears, but also with our soul. It is a reminder to tune in to the cosmic wisdom that echoes throughout the universe, to uncover the hidden messages in the symphony of life. This understanding leads us to a deeper perception of the interconnection between all beings and phenomena in the universe. Just as individual notes form a harmony, every aspect of our existence intertwines in a cosmic dance of causes and effects. When we embrace this perspective, we find a sense of peace and acceptance in the face of the uncertainties of destiny. Instead of fighting the currents of life, we learn to navigate with them, confident that the river of destiny will always lead us to our final destination. Being humble means listening twice as much as talking. It means understanding that the universe communicates in whispers and that great insights can emerge in the silence between our words. It involves recognizing that releasing control over each story allows us to absorb the lessons woven into the cosmic fabric, full of universal truths. The Stoic advice to let go of what we cannot control becomes an eternal motto. He advises us to release the weight of futile resistance, loosen our hold on false promises of power, and allow the dance of destiny to unfold in our hearts. By surrendering, we align ourselves with the natural rhythms of the universe and stop fighting the current. Instead, we become part of a magnificent cosmic ballet. Embracing the ebb and flow is the only way to gracefully navigate the waves of life. This is not a sign of weakness, but rather a demonstration of deep wisdom, recognizing that our true power lies in accepting what we cannot change. By surrendering to cosmic forces, we find balance, allowing ourselves to flow with purpose and harmony, surfing the crests of destiny rather than fighting its current. Imagine yourself as a leaf gently floating on a serene river. The leaf does not fight the current, but dances gracefully with the waters, finding its way through the river's curves and meanders. Likewise, By surrendering to the circumstances of life, we become like the leaf, flowing with the river of existence. This surrender does not mean resignation, but rather a conscious acceptance of what is, allowing us to find inner peace and serenity amidst life's constant changes. We begin a transformative journey by opening our hearts to the wisdom of Epictetus, understanding that our lives are just a small thread in the cosmic tapestry of the universe. His teachings welcome us and strengthen our connection with the vastness of existence, allowing us to hear the whispers of the universe. Learning to let go of what is beyond our control is like tuning our ears to the cosmic symphony, dancing with humility and grace to the rhythm of life's ebb and flow. Embracing the Stoic path is more than a simple choice, is to embark on a sacred journey of self-knowledge and building unshakable resilience. In the inspiring words of Seneca, "He who suffers sooner than necessary suffers more than necessary." This maxim echoes through the halls of Stoic wisdom, calling to those who are ready to discover their inner strength and transform their perspective in the face of life's adversities. By adopting Stoic principles, we not only accept the impermanence and uncertainty of life, but we also cultivate a serenity that allows us to flow with the tides of existence. We find, through the practice of acceptance and resilience, a transformative power that frees us from the unnecessary weight of suffering. The journey becomes not just a search for inner peace, but a spiritual awakening in harmony with the cosmos, where every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth and learning. Therefore, by following the path of Stoicism, we open the doors to a journey of self-improvement, guided by ancient wisdom that continues to inspire and enlighten seekers of inner truth throughout all time. It's a clear invitation to act fast, learn from the Stoics, and find strength in resilience. It is essential to carry the torch of Stoicism as we navigate our inner shadows, a torch that never goes out. Seneca's words are timeless and remind us that suffering can be a chance to show our courage. On this journey, we discover that the path to controlling our mind is illuminated by the light of Stoicism, which is constant and steadfast. On the path of Stoicism, we are not alone, we walk together. Seneca's wise lessons unite us and show that we are not alone in our search for inner strength. When we all agree on Stoic principles, we form a community of seekers, each navigating the search for inner peace. We are all on this journey together, which unites us in a silent pact beyond the shadows we face. We can follow the glow left by Stoic wisdom. When we deeply explore ourselves, this light dispels the darkness and frees us from the false ideas that hold us back. Following the teachings of Stoicism helps us discover our inner strength and resilience. We can find comfort, inspiration, and courage in the Stoic light. Finding inner strength is not a solitary journey. It is a shared goal that unites us on our individual journey. Let the teachings of Stoicism echo in our efforts and unite us in our common quest. May we emerge from the labyrinth not as lost souls, but as lights of resilience, illuminating the world around us. We learn from the experience of the Stoic path that suffering can make us stronger. When we face challenges wisely, Seneca's advice becomes a guiding star, showing us how to differentiate between useful and unnecessary suffering and using the flame of Stoicism to guide us. Let us take this sacred journey together, strengthening our inner strengths with Stoic principles and shining as lights of resilience in a world that seeks comfort in the darkness. As we conclude our exploration of Stoicism, I hope you feel stronger, more enlightened, and ready to face life's challenges with new resilience. During our time together, we discussed the basic principles of Stoicism, from what we can control to how to approach obstacles as opportunities for growth. The wisdom of the Stoics spans the ages, offering a reliable compass even as we face life's storms. Remember that Stoicism is not just a philosophy to study, it's a way of living. Just as a gardener tends his plants, you can cultivate your mind and character by practicing Stoic principles every day. The transformation you seek begins with small, consistent steps, whether practicing mindfulness, reflecting on your daily experiences, or choosing to respond to challenges calmly and rationally. Every effort, no matter how small it may seem, is important. Every moment you practice Stoicism is like planting a seed in the garden of your soul, destined to grow and blossom over time. As you continue your journey, remember that you are not alone. The Stoic community is here to support you, offering guidance and inspiration along the way. May your journey be full of self-discovery, personal growth, and inner peace. I encourage you to return to these lessons whenever you need to remember the strength within yourself and the calm you can find by following the principles of Stoicism. Life is like a learning journey that never ends, and Stoicism offers a solid foundation on which to build that journey. Thank you for spending this time with me, exploring how Stoicism can change your life. This journey is just beginning. Continue seeking wisdom, practicing virtues, and living with a clear purpose. Remember that the best time to begin your Stoic journey was yesterday. The next best time is now. Let's take the lessons learned forward and build a life full of peace, strength, and achievements. Farewell, and may your path be guided by the teachings of Stoicism.